Oh, no, that's not how you do it. Okay. That should be that done. Nice. Okay, that's that done. Yep. Close that, and close this. And we are good. Hey, Felix! Wow, it's actually, I can't remember the last time you were the first person here. It's good to see you. How are you doing? What were your other plans? And if at any point, like, you gotta leave or you want to go do something else, man, you're more than welcome. You're playing Dishonored. Oh wow, wait, so you've played the first game that many times, and then you haven't even played the second one. It's crazy. That's like me with Dark Souls 3. I've beaten it like 3 or 4 times, and yet I've never actually done any of the DLCs. Just kind of funny. No, sorry, no, I beat the first DLC. And then I started like another new game, and then I would beat the first DLC and the second DLC, but I've yet to actually, like, yeah. Why is my thing... Oh no. Okay, we're good. Let me see, can I... There we go, we're good. Okay, that's fine. I should be fine. Oh, I don't have the chat open. Whoops. I'm a bit all over the place today. So when I alt tab, it does go back. Okay, good. I'm a bit all over the place today, but I'm hanging in there. But where'd my mouse go? Here it is. Also, yeah, podcast is still scheduled for... Yes, actually, let me move this here, bring this up, do that. Okay, that way I can see messages. Podcast is still for, well, 8 o'clock my time, so about 20 minutes, but I just figured I'd start a bit early, kind of get everything
against all the evil
warmed up.
that hell can conjure. All the wickedness that mankind can produce, we will send unto them only you.
So wait,
Rip and tear.
from the sounds of it, you didn't like Fontaine. Is that what I'm hearing? Turn this down a bit. Or did you like Fontaine? I'm not too sure.
I have located the priest signal. I will mark it on your HUD.
Please do. Oh, here we go. I think the podcast is going to be good. It's going to be mainly about the final shape and this season. I mean, that's what the title says anyway, but... Oh, right. Oh, I get you. I am currently in Inazuma, whatever, Inazuma, whatever. Yeah, I'm just trying to beeline it to Sumeru so I can actually get my my Raiden, whatever, Ascension. I really don't care about the story. And I really wish you could skip cutscenes and skip dialogue. That's actually probably like the main reason why I kind of stopped playing the game. Because it really kills my soul. So what usually happens is I'll like binge it, and then it'll just wear me out having to sit through all the cutscenes, and then I'll stop.
The first Hell Priest has been terminated. The demonic consumption of Earth has been reduced.
Yeah. Starfield, you're in, right, you have a few different categories of people that play Starfield, right? Or that have an opinion on Starfield. You have the people who will automatically find a reason to disagree with any real criticism of the game. Like, for example, it's like, oh, there's boundaries, so you can't, like, actually, like, explore a planet. Oh, well, who would actually walk around a planet anyway? Or there's no mini-maps at all, even like if you're in a city and you want to know where a vendor is. Oh, well, it's an exploration game. You're not supposed to know where to go. So you've got those people, right? And what's going to end up happening, but they won't say it, is that when they eventually find the game, every single problem that is being mentioned now, they will most likely face as well, but they just won't say it. And then you have the people who really appreciate the game for what it is, and it's their exact cup of tea. And it's like, you know what? Fallout in space? That's what I was expecting, it's what I wanted, that's fine, right? Is it everything I hoped for? No, but it ticks enough of my boxes. I'm having a good time. It's fun, right? And then you have the people who are like, yeah, this isn't really, like, what we were expecting. And some of these problems are actually really bad. And performance on PC is actually really, really bad. And yeah, it's just kind of a bit, you know, it's not terrible. It's not like Redfall or Fallout 76 at launch, but it's certainly not Game of the Year. And then you have the, you know, the PlayStation people who are like, yeah, Starfield bad, midfield. Yeah. Honestly, I'm in that group who's like, it's not Game of the Year. I'm gonna play it on the 5th or whenever, when it comes out. I'm a bit nervous about it though, because like, listen, I'm the guy who will prioritize graphics over FPS. Like, what game was it? I remember Jedi Fallen Order came out, and I had a 1060 at the time, and I played the game on max, and I just played at 30 FPS on PC. And I don't really want to do that on Starfield. I mean, maybe I will, I don't know, but the other thing is, well, is like Starfield, it doesn't look terrible, but like, I'm not blown away by it. The art style isn't really my thing. It's certainly more Fallout than Skyrim. But I'm gonna play it if it, you know, I'm gonna give it the 12 hours they say I need to have fun. And if you know, I've actually gotten into the game and I still don't like it, I don't know, we'll see if I finish it or not. I have other games I still need to finish too. I mean, like sure, I have to finish Baldur's Gate 3. Like, why should I finish Starfield before Baldur's Gate 3? Like, what's going on there? Hey Tailgate, how you doing, man? Really? Okay. 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 So Sumeru is that good? Okay. It's not. Listen. It. How do I say this? I think it kind of bleeds over from Destiny. Like, I'm the kind of guy. So for Destiny, right? The reason why I talk mainly about pyramid ship stuff or the Winnower stuff is because like I really love like trying to figure out mysteries like that. But it's also because like the Winnower Gardener and pyramid ship stuff, that is like the real story. Those are the end game players, and so that's what I'm gonna prioritize over. Oh, what is Elsie Bray doing with Anna? I don't care. That's just how I am. And it's kind of bled over into other games where, like, Genshin is at its core a casual game. It is 100%. And it's designed for a very wide range of people, right? So you're not gonna get super hardcore, intense story. Not most of the time, anyway. And the goofy stuff and the whatever and the you know, it doesn't really captivate me. I hate Paimon. I don't know how many times I've said that. Paimon, like, listen, I am not a cannibal. But I choose the emergency rations thing every time. 100%. I will say this. Okay, okay. And I liked, so Genshin did this one thing. And I liked it so much that not only did I then later go to my friend who hasn't played Genshin and say, dude, you need to see this. And I showed it to him. But I even went back and listened to the soundtrack. And that was the fight against... it was the dude in Leeway, or whatever. The Harbinger dude? I can't remember his name. You know the guy I'm talking about, though. The ginger guy? The Harbinger? The boss fight? In, like, the really gold palace? What's his name? Once upon a time I beat the whole Alan Wake 1. Oof. Nice. Ooh, nice one, man. Nambred is really good. Yeah. That was a really good fight. That was good. Now, I was overpowered. Actually, I wasn't overpowered, but, like, I have a really strong team. So the fight itself was fine. But the cutscenes and the music. Oh! So good. So good. I was like, why don't they do this more often? So some goofy, kiddie, waifu stuff. I don't care about that at all. Right? There's only one person that I kind of simp for, and that's Rosaria, or whatever her name is. There, I said it. But that's it. It ain't even because of her character. I've never tried the casserole, but yeah, I'd say it would pair nicely. Ooh. Oh, I missed! No! Does that hit? It does. I get him. Oh. There we go. Music article on Phantom Wiki is placed on the lore page. Yeah. No. Okay, I'll try one more time. One more time and then I stop. I was that early into it. Speaking of Alan Wake, I'm looking for the game's sequel. Yeah?
Against all the evil that hell can conjure, all the wickedness that mankind can produce.
There's literally no way you can skip this dialogue, by the way. I've had to sit through this dialogue hundreds of times.
You rip and tear until it is done.
And they know it. It's fully, and they're gonna make you sit through it every time. Also, I'm aware that
I have located the priest.
as we speak,
I will mark it on
many,
your
many brave souls are attempting day 1 Crota's End. So, we'll see how long that takes. The last time I checked, Dado was on the bridge encounter. I mean, fair play, you know? My prediction was that it would take them an hour to clear that, an hour for Deathsinger, and 2 hours for Crota. Speaking of which, I'm gonna quickly just, like, do a double check, and let's see where he's at right now. Dato.
Can we step on a plate somewhere? Can we
Yeah.
hold down?
Yeah, he's on Iryut. And I think they've changed that encounter too, from the looks of it. Okay, there we go. There's a more mature, darker. There we go. There's a more mature and darker Genshin rival. Oh, but I've never heard of that. Some of speaking of like MiHoYo, some of what I've seen of Honkai Star Rail looks good, but I don't know. It's it's not even the gameplay. It's just the whole kiddie kind of not, and I don't like using weeby lightly. I don't mean it like I don't know. It's just I don't know. I can't. Really, like, what gets me into those games, like Genshin, the exploration, first of all, is great, but it's really just, like, leveling up the characters, getting them powerful, you know, grinding for Primo Gems. I know how sad that is, but that's true. I find it very addicting. The story just isn't, and it's also the fact that with Genshin particularly, and I would not be surprised, I don't know, right, but I would not be surprised if Star Rail does this better. But Genshin will have its main story, and it will force you to do so much extra side crap to get to that. It's like, oh, well, we need to cross this bridge. But we have to pay the toll to the bridge keeper, and then we can get to the boss fight. Well, the bridge keeper wants us to go track down their great-great-grandfather's ancient mythical sword of legend 3 countries away, and that will take us 300 hours, 2 campaigns, 3 DLCs, and afterwards then we can cross that bridge when we get to it. That's actually how it sounds, but it's not as cool as finding a mythical legendary sword. It's more like, I lost me frying pan, and it's in a barrel somewhere. And I've got 57 barrels spread across 3 different fields, and I need you to go and find it, and then you can get to the boss fight. And then you're just like, oh, okay. And then it's like, oh, thank you for getting the pan. I needed it to try and create the potion for my son's sickness, but now I need the ingredients, so I need you to go pick the 37 specific flowers in this specific region, please. And then while you're there, you have to kill 30 bears and 97 bandits. Yep. And then you get the potion, you make the potion. Oh, now my son has polio and he can't walk. I need you to go craft him a wheelchair. So you have to go cut down 5 trees, even though it only takes like half of one realistically, and make him the necessary components. But then, you need metal bits for the wheelchair. And so you go to the smith, and the smith is like, I can craft you 1 piece of the wheelchair each day IRL. And so you need to wait a literal week and log in each week to go and manually give him the piece to make and collect the one that's finished. And then, once you have all the parts made and you need to make the wheelchair fully, then you have to wait 2 weeks IRL for him to do the whole thing. That's a big boy operation. And then you get to go across the bridge. And it's just, and you can't skip any of the cutscenes because it's great content. And the people who want to skip the cutscenes are losers who can't appreciate a good story and are too hardcore. And now you see, this is why I take very long breaks from Genshin Impact. And the whole time you're doing these quests, you have a creature the size of a koala in your ear going, Paimon likes this. Paimon thinks that's really funny. Don't call me emergency rations. Paimon takes... Oh, Paimon, I'm actually going to turn you into a frisbee. Yeah, I know. It is what it is. It is what it is. Yep. Anyway. That's how it feels. That's how it feels. What do you want to raid? Yeah, everybody wants Wrath of the Machine. I actually don't. Mainly because I never actually ended up being able to do it back in the day because I was a solo player by the end of D1. Well, no, D1... Well, no, D1... No, sorry, not D1. Wrath is the only one left. There are no other raids left after this. Yeah, no. So it kind of has to be Wrath. And my prediction is they're going to release Wrath of the Machine in the 10-year anniversary pack for D2. That's what I believe. Oh, please don't. No, please. Oh, that doesn't count. Okay, I was... No, one more try. One more try. I get one more try. And I'm actually going to try this time. I'm actually going to focus this time. Because that's... Listen, it's not just funny, it's embarrassing for me. I have pride, and I have deep-rooted insecurities when it comes to this game, and they must be vanquished, okay? Thank you. The meat time is coming. Meat being ability 2. Oh, yeah.
Rip and tear.
Yep.
Until it is done.
Trying to do that for the second time, but you can't. Yeah. No, but that's the thing, it doesn't, and that's why I... You see... You see what you do to me! You see what you do to me! It gets worse every time! It gets worse every time!
Against all the evil that hell can conjure.
Yeah, Tailgate, it's just... It's really because... I'll let the...
We will send unto them only you. Rip and tear.
I hate this guy.
Until it is done.
I hate this guy. Okay. Again, the only reason why I got into Genshin was because I wanted to, like... I don't know. I tried it, and I really enjoyed the leveling up system, but I'm not a... I used to be... At one point, I was so addicted to the game, I actually had to forcibly uninstall it. But, now I'm not. I've never spent a single penny on the game. I never will. And every time I get a 5-star, which has been, I want to say twice so far, I remind myself that I am therefore better than every single person who spent hundreds of dollars trying to get that exact same character that I got for free. But the story doesn't interest me. I don't like how, like, 90% of the characters look like children. And Paimon is the bane of my existence. That's how it is. Okay, this time, no matter what happens, I will end it here because I do. Who dares message me? Who? Not today. No, you thought you had zero faith in me. I already know it. Nice. I just need ammunition. Wait, we're good. I do want to get ammo though, real quick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play just this first mission. and then after that I'll save. When you beat each mission on this difficulty, you have the option to keep going, or like stop there. But you can't stop during a mission. So I'm gonna keep doing this for now, and then once we finish this mission, because I will finish this mission,
Has been terminated.
that'll be that.
The demonic consumption of Earth
Cool.
has been reduced by 36.8%. There are 2 Hell Priests remaining.
Yeah, he really does. Yeah, I know. It is weird. I remember also one time, this is actually gonna get me cancelled or something, but I showed my dad a bunch of the characters, and I asked him to tell me who the boys and who the girls were. Yeah. It was funny. It was funny. My poor dear old father, who's like 68 years old. Oof. Poor guy. He's like, back in my days, the women didn't have cat ears on them. No, you didn't miss anything, Clone. I'm just finishing this mission if I can, and then we're gonna get into things if everybody else for the podcast is ready. You're just going with the flow of everybody else in the community. Do you mean what the community of which? Community of Destiny, community of the channel, community of Genshin. Also, boys, I don't usually do this, but I have been really ramping up posting to my my Instagram and my Twitter. And so if you use either of those 2 platforms, I would not blame you at all if you don't. I would certainly recommend any support you can give me on that end. I was posting my videos on Instagram, and my girlfriend was like, "What are you doing? You're not using the hashtags." And I'm like, "What do you mean the hashtags? I just post the video." And she's like, "No, it's nobody's gonna see that. You have to put the hashtags." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know you're supposed." I thought that was just, you know. Oh, gotcha. Yep. Up, yep. Right. We should only be like maybe 5 Newton if everything goes well. Actually, no, it might be a little bit more. But I have. Oh, dang it. I could just skip you. I'm not wasting my breath on you. I haven't received any messages. If Brad or Archival is watching this stream, if you're here, and you're ready and you're just waiting for me, let me know, okay? But otherwise, I'm just assuming that the other guys aren't ready. I'm pretty sure they are, though, but it's whatever.
The cleansing of Earth is a necessary.
I have a rough outline for things drawn out, and we'll see. If we finish early, we finish early. And if we don't, well, I'm going to really try and keep it constrained. Man, I'm so tired. I spent literally all day today just editing this thumbnail, the one for this video. And then also, I began a script for the next video. Next week, we are going to be covering a different game. So I'm looking to do 2 videos next week. And I am looking to get another Chrono Odyssey video out. Because, like, part of it is genuinely because I want to try and follow up that game's success if it is successful. But at the same time, I am genuinely invested in that game. And it it looks like it was made for me. So I do want to get back to making a video on that. And yeah, should be fun. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna concentrate now. Dang it. Ooh. There was a time when I was really good at this game. Emphasis on the past tense. Thank you. Should be it done, yeah. An in development game, looking forward to it. Yeah. I need to look into that game again, but from what I do remember, it wasn't really my style.
Thank you for your support during this transition.
Got an interesting name though. Oh, dang it! It had an interesting art style though, to be fair to it. Ooh. Dang it. Hello? Okay, we're gonna be Binguses today. I see, I understand. Okay. I'm actually feeling good about this one. We're gonna get this mission done. Clean. Okay, we're done. We got this, Let's go. Go. Oh, no. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Smooth. Oh. Smooth. Oh, no, that wasn't smooth. Never mind. Okay, no. I say no. Bro, you're a tanky boy. Alright, that should be the worst of them done. Let me get this real quick. Nope. Yeah. I clear this and then we're done the mission and then I'll be gone. Nope, not allowed. Not allowed. Not allowed. Allowed. No, I would. Okay. Not good. Good. Yes. Very, very good. Successful. Great success. Great success. Stagger him. Chainsaw. Tactical sticky grenade. Cheeky snipe grenade. The pew pew pew. The pew pew pew. Where be he? There be he. I'm too good. I'm too good. I did it. Right, we basically won. GG. GG. I just have to stop ranting about Genshin, and then I am indestructible. By all measures, indestructible.
The gathering of Hell Priests is located just above your location.
It is
My
100%,
scans
yes.
indicate there is a lift at the center of this facility.
I'm aware. I'm aware. Thank you for telling me for the 19,000th time, though. I really require that assistance. Yay! Skip, and we back up. Yes. GG. Okay. That's us good to go. I would have kept going, but I don't want to keep people waiting. Because that's not what the point of the stream is about. Okay. I'm gonna message people and I'm gonna ask them if they are ready. Okay. We are, yes. Oh, I'm loving it, dude. Clone, this season is, incredible. Starfield got an 87 on Metacritic. Good or bad? Oh, sorry, wait a minute, 1 second. So basically the majority of reviewers have given it really high scores, but there have been a few who have given it like not bad scores, but like mid scores. Most notably IGN. So what's funny is you see IGN giving it a 7 out of 10. That is exclusively IGN America. For example, IGN Japan, I'm pretty sure gave it like a 9 or a 10. So it's very few and far between the people who give it mid scores, but the criticism that I've seen, the lower score people, like the criticism is very valid. These aren't people who are like complaining because some stupid reason, right? In my opinion, from what I've seen, I think it's going to really depend on what you want from the game. I don't think it's a 90. I don't think it's a 100 so far. I could be wrong because I'm going to play it on the 5th, but it's not getting Game of the Year. Not a chance it's getting Game of the Year. It is the Black Heart that's talking about power, yes. I literally, Clone, I went on a 5-minute rampage, unrelenting about that. Okay. Right, I'm gonna call Brad now. Hello.
Yo.
You good?
Yeah, I'm just watching the worlds first.
Looks pretty difficult.
Soldier Grappa is already at Crota.
Really?
Yep, he's gonna get his 4 forwards first.
Is he close to finishing it?
They've already started to do boss DPS.
How different is Crota?
Not massively. I'll be honest with you, mate. The ads look very easy to kill. They do not, like... I've been watching a few streams of a few people in different encounters, and
Yeah.
it just doesn't look like it's difficult, to be honest with you. It's just very mechanically heavy. The ads are, like, easy to kill.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's gonna be interesting trying it tomorrow.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna add our archival.
Alright. Have I met this guy before?
Yeah, he was the guy that we talked to the last thing.
Alright, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm also fishing.
He's fishing. You're fishing.
Yeah, in Destiny.
Oh, okay. Hey, man, how you doing?
It's pleasing.
Hello.
Bye.
I take it you're good. Yeah, you've recovered from your power nap.
Yeah.
Good. So let me just change these. Okay, we're good, and I'm gonna pull up. Have you been watching any of the raid stuff?
Yeah, a little. I've been. It's less for the mechanics and more for the music changes that they did.
Oh, and have there been any significant music changes?
None of the like big changes have really kicked in yet for the stream that I'm watching, but there have been a couple differences so far.
Do you plan on doing it eventually?
The raid, yeah.
Yeah.
After contest.
Yeah.
I fully admit when or that I have a skill issue when it comes to day one raids. So
I mean, yeah, it's weird because like it can be sometimes a skill issue, but it can also just be a team issue. You know?
depends on the raid.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, like Root of Nightmares, was not really that. Yeah, it was. Yeah. So I'm a bit all over the place. I do apologize. But I am. Let me pull up my thingamajiggy. Okay. So, we all saw the showcase. We all saw the final shape. I guess first of all, like, from the cinematic that we saw, what did you think about the trailer? Like, did you like it? Was it just eh? Was there anything in particular that you noticed from it that you thought could be like, you know, interesting for what we get in the actual expansion or whatever? Yeah. What do you guys think? Who wants to go first?
I'm gonna need to think about that question.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. I guess then I can go on. First off, I think the vibe of the trailer, like the music, the build up, the idea, like this is kind of it. This is the final sort of battle, even though we know the series is going to continue after this. I like that vibe. It's usually it's kind of one of my favorite feelings in any media. Just that we know that if we fail, like everything will end, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I am a little okay. I understand why our light subclasses would get more. I mean, we are quite literally in a place that can be best described as like. Well, I mean, it's called the fucking Pale Heart. Like, it's.
Yep.
Of course, there's gonna be light in abundance. That being said, it's gonna be really weird getting future darkness subclasses after the saga is over, rather than having
Yep.
3 and 3 here and now.
And that is assuming we do
Um,
get another one.
I mean, I assume as the series continues, we'll be getting more subclasses. We might even stray from light-based and dark-based and go into like what I can best describe as like kinetic subclasses, where they're not exactly tied to an element,
Yeah, like the
but
gray
they
zone.
are enhanced. Yeah, they're enhanced by our paracausality anyway. Like, to throw a popular one out there, like Pocket Siva, like you don't. It's not light or dark based, but it is something that, due to our innate paracausality, we can enhance with either, and therefore we could use that as a sort of neutral subclass.
Mm-hmm.
You could do some things with that. I
Yeah.
mean, it is a very versatile technology. Same for Quicksilver and basically everything else that Golden Age humanity made.
Yep. Yep. I think that would be really cool. What's your like? Was there anything about the trailer that you were just straight up like, yeah, no, I don't really like that?
I am disappointed by the apparent lack of pyramids, because they did all go into
Yeah,
the Pale
true.
Heart.
I was thinking that. Yeah.
They are on the posters, like all variants of them, so that implies that maybe we'll see like a few of them hanging around.
Yeah.
But just from the trailer and from the footage of the Pale Heart that we have seen, as little as we have, let's be real, there isn't a lot of. I can't say there isn't a lot of pyramid content because the monolith is literally made of that. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know.
The subjugators, I'll just say it right now. Tormentors at least were 50-50 on the whether or not they were an actual like living species or just genetic clones of Nezarec. The dialogue, despite what people say, is very vague about it and open to interpretation. It's very either or. But subjugators, knowing Rolk and his lore, it's very obvious that these would have to be copies because I mean, Rolk was the last Lubraean. There's literally no other members of that species left. They
Yeah.
have to be some form of. And I mean, there's good and there's bad with that. I can at least say with confidence that Tormentors probably aren't a result of the alliance with Callus, because Callus's cloning tech at least hasn't seemingly been used since the events of Haunted, which we know thanks to Kaido's ruminations on the Shadow Legion's like makeup as an army.
Mhm.
But still, it's I don't know. The Shadow Legion really set a precedence for what happened, or not the Shadow Legion, the Loyalists on the Leviathan during Haunted set a precedent for what darkness-based clones would, or darkness-allied clones would be like. And Tormentors and even Subjugators just do not fit that bill. Because if there's something that I can give the Subjugators, it's that they're just as melodramatic as their fucking what would you call Rolk in this case? Parent?
Yeah. Or
Donor?
yeah. I'm trying to think of like the word, the like the prime or the something, I don't know. The
Yeah.
genetic template or whatever.
Yeah, because you can see one of their animations for the Subjugators. It was after the Stasis one like wiped a couple Guardians down. It did like a flourish with its spear, and it's like it didn't have to do that. You know that's not like that's not a mindless clone behavior. That's
Yep.
a
Yeah, I
like
saw that. Yeah.
that's a that's like a it have to be it had to be like behavior integrated into like genetics or something, if for that to be possible, which kind of makes it funny. Like it
Yep.
just means that every stupid little flare that Rolk does is just built into
Yeah.
it's very like biology.
Does he do that exact flare?
I don't think he does that exact flare because he doesn't have that exact weapon, but he does do the glaive twirl, and I mean, you've seen like most of his animations where he's just
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's yeah. And I guess I can say the same for Nezarec and the Tormentors as well, because I think based on the cinematics for Callus and the Tormentor guards he has, that they can get bored. And they do have celebratory animations where they like pump their chest
Yeah.
before they leave. And I think that's enough to determine that they do have like personality tied to them.
Oh, I definitely think so.
I mean, they have laughing voice lines, so that just means the Shadow Legion really got like
Oh no,
the short end of
they
the
got
stick.
shafted so badly. They get
Yeah.
backpacks.
Not only that, but like all of the Shadow, because most of them are canonically deserters, and yet all of them are like mindless drones. It just means that Tormentors and Rolk, like their own soldiers, their own armies, have more personality than the Shadow Legion.
Yep. 100%.
Even though most of them should have like the typical Cabal, like I don't know, it's disappointing. It's equal parts disappointing and funny. That being said, I still can't wait to fight Subjugators anyway, because I like them. I like the red suited bastards in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope we
Um,
get more than that.
with the going back to the question of the
The cinematic or whatever.
cinematic, um, I'm kind of taking it with a pinch of salt because I'm very used to the cinematics that we've been given. Not always quite be what we receive.
Mm.
So it's hard to say just because we know very little. One thing that I do find fairly interesting is the location. I think it looks pretty interesting. I mean, I want to say it's different to what we've got, and it kind of is. Essentially, it is just kind of a built up sort of biome of multiple places that we've got in game right now, but there are some places that are dramatically different too, which I think look cool. But I think right now I'm just gonna hold off on my full opinion on what I think until I start to see more.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was thinking about my answer as you guys were talking, and I was thinking to myself, there really actually isn't much that I can say. Ultimately, I think everyone can agree with me when I just say I want it to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but based off previous times, we haven't really been given what we've been shown, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
That's also why like all of my things have just been about stuff that we can actually see and
Yeah, in
determine
game.
from that. Because I don't know what playing on the Pale Heart's gonna be like, or how the subclasses are gonna feel, or anything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If we're even gonna see pyramid ships in the sky. They just put them
Jeez.
there in the poster, and it's just like, yeah, no. So so I actually do have a bit more to say about like the cinematic. So like, I mean, like if you look at their track record with cinematics, like I think honestly, like Bungie really has, especially when they were under Activision still, they've had some really insane cinematics over the years. D1 didn't really have anything that noticeable in terms of like cinematics. The Dark Below, you had, you know, the zoom into the pit with Crota or whatever, although it looked like not really Crota we have now, but whatever. And then you had the House of Wolves one. That was really cool. The Taken King one is still one of my favorites. The one where it eventually shows like the dreadnought and the power running through it, and then there's like the guy saying like whatever, his name is Oryx the Taken King or whatever. That is like one of the best ones that I've seen. Rise of Iron, again, insane cinematic, and like it basically, like, even you look at Curse of Osiris. Like Curse of Osiris had an insane cinematic. Warmind was kind of like not really, it was whatever, but yeah. And Forsaken,
DLC.
we all know Forsaken, you know, had some really great cinematics with the you know, the one with Cade dying or whatever, and then also the one where he like tries to fight all the Scorn. But anyway, moving on to like I used to get like super hyped for these things, and I think like a lot of us here, well, I know for myself and Brad anyway, like I used to really take these cinematics at face value as like what we would be getting in the expansion. And in my opinion, the best cinematic for me, subjectively, that they've ever done is the Beyond Light cinematic. The tone, the atmosphere, the music, and of course, like the pyramid ship thing. And like you need to also like keep in mind this was didn't Season of Arrivals like start like at the same time as this showcase for Beyond Light? Because that they
Yeah,
announced
it was
the
right
Prophecy
after.
dungeon at the yeah. So that it was So like it was like probably like the most hyped I think anybody in Destiny's really been in during Destiny 2, because it was like the second collapse and all that. And then Beyond Light came out, and it was just a complete, well, we just got the Vex Strike and the Dark Timeline that nobody really cares about because it's completely irrelevant now. And then we got Witch Queen, which again, it wasn't a bad cinematic, but it was just kind of like, okay, I see what we're getting, and we did get it, so fair enough. And then we have Lightfall, which in my opinion was just pure marketing, like pure marketing. Like that's really what it was. And I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't like how it looked, like visually. So anyway, I know I'm kind of rambling on, but what I'm saying is like I'm really jaded when it comes to cinematics now because of Beyond Light and Lightfall. So when I look at this cinematic, right, I got hyped when I first saw it because of the ending with the Titan raising the thing and the epic music and the chanting, because I'm a sucker for all that. But when I actually look back at it, it's better than Lightfall cinematic, but it wasn't like insane because like 90% of that cinematic was not relevant towards the final shape at all. It was all nostalgia. Like the ghost rezzing us, Vault of Glass. Like, why is Vault of Glass there? Like, I understand it's supposed to be like, oh, we've been a team, but like, what does this have to do with what I'm going to be experiencing in the final shape? And we get a little bit of us walking around the destination. We get like a 0.5, like maybe like 10 seconds, no, like 5 seconds looking at the subjugators. And we have like a little bit of the Witness and the Monolith, and then us all together with Cade. And so from the cinematic alone, I'm just kind of like, the only thing that I can say is my biggest concern. So I'll say two things. First of all, the thing that I didn't like, it was the subjugators. I think they're goofy. I think they're unoriginal. I think they're knockoffs of Rolk and Tormentors, which is ironic because Tormentors are knockoffs of Rolk as like a base enemy gameplay design kind of thing, right? And then you're just combining that with, again, knocking off Rolk directly. I think that what really concerns me about this cinematic, my overall point with this thing, is my number one concern with the cinematic is that if this is going to actually like represent the identity of the expansion, then is the entire expansion just going to be a nostalgia trip with kind of an ending, like a kind of ending, like at the end of the thing? Like, is it just going to be us? Just think about it, right? Because I know we're going to be talking about like actual final shape stuff in a bit, but like, if you think about it, if the cinematic is nostalgia, and we know the destination's like a straight line, where it's like, oh, we start off in the first tower, and then you're basically like reliving your journey, then is like 90% of the campaign just going to be us like reliving those memories, and then we get a, you know, whatever. So that's like the biggest red flag for me with the cinematic. I thought it looked fine, the music was good, the tone was fun, but yeah, anyway, I know I kind of rubbed it on there, but that's my big thing. The next thing that I want to ask you guys is just the destination, the Pale Heart, whatever. From what you've seen, do you like it? Do you don't like it? Is there anything you're looking forward to? Do you think the new design is going to be good?
Already.
But like, for example, like, do you think the new design with the layout is going to be?
The heads and the hands are pretty cool. I think that's a neat aesthetic. I like that kind of spiral ribcage looking location. I like how there's like walls that have like faces and hands trying to like break free as if something's trapped inside. From that perspective, yeah, I think it looks really cool.
But like, what do you think of like the new layout? How it's not like a circuit; it's like a straight line. Do you know what I mean?
Well, they said that it's linear in the fact that when you complete everything and the raid's done, it starts to open up after that. Kind of like the Dreamer City did.
Did they?
Yeah, it's just linear for when you are doing the story. Once the story's over, that's when the whole thing opens up and.
But I thought the actual map was not like made in a circuit. It was just like made as a straight line.
Well, we don't know if it wasn't made in a circuit in its totality. It is like designed to be more linear, but they did specify later that it was for the campaign.
Okay, because my assumption was the actual map was just a straight line, and if you want to, like, you go to the end, and then if you want to go to the beginning, you have to just fast travel. Okay.
Yeah, because like it's, I have a feeling that this will be a pretty large destination, and I know that's pure hopium given, well, every destination since Nessus, but the whole You see in the press image or in the press kit that there's a huge distance between the D1 tower and the traveler portal
Yeah.
to the monolith and everything on that side. Like the difference in like lighting and whatnot changes literally halfway between that like easy 3 or 4 miles of distance. Like it is massive.
It's basically a descent into hell.
Yeah, and I mean, even from the monolith, when you see the the traveler portal itself, just based on what we know about the size of the traveler, thanks Dorja Bellbrook, that's like 14 kilometers of orb, and that portal covers like a third of one side of the the thing. Like it's easily like 1 or 2 kilometers tall. It's a
Yep.
big portal, and to have it look so small, that has to be really far.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So
It's clearly like not just however big the inside of the traveler is. It's like it's a different dimension.
yeah, which is interesting, but I'll talk about. I think I'll talk about that later.
Sure. Sure. My take on the destination is again okay, I'm just gonna say it right. Like I've looked at the press kit, which has a lot of images of the destination, and there's some stuff that looks really cool. Like Brad said, like especially the later half or the ending where things get like twisted, and you have like the faces and the hands and the all that stuff. Like that's cool. I love that. That's great. But as a concept, it's not actually what I really wanted. You know, when they first showed us the Final Shape teaser, which I completely forgot about, with with Cade and Ikora, and you saw the thing in the distance. A lot of people were speculating like, oh, was this like the original garden, right? And that's like what I kind of would have preferred, because just to put it bluntly, everything that I've seen except for the last bit, it doesn't make me feel like I'm inside the Traveler or I'm in some like light heavenly
Yeah, I agree
realm.
with that.
I just
Yeah, I agree with
it
that.
just feels like they're copying and pasting assets to save time. That's really what it feels like to me. And at the same time, then you come to the end, and that's where the new stuff is. But then theme-wise, it doesn't fit with being inside of the Traveler. So overall, because for years we've wondered what's inside the Traveler and yada 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 yada, and having copied and pasted like assets with darkness kind of stuff at the end isn't what we were thinking. And that's kind of my opinion of the destination for that.
Well, they were saying that that thingy's been there for a while and has had it like reshaped.
No, I
into-
understand that. I'm just saying as a concept, like that's not what I like. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense, but I'm just saying that's not what I would
There's a
have
few
wanted.
things actually you said that that kind of sparked a few things in my mind. Because if you think back to when we watched all of this for the first time,
The showcase.
a lot of the a lot of the locations that looked really nice within the showcase were repeat locations of basically what we've got in game right now. But then
Yeah.
the real unfinished stuff is the new stuff.
True.
That we haven't obviously got in game before. And another thing that's kind of concerning to me, which isn't really, I guess, a massive deal, is that we didn't hear the witness at all. Which
No,
makes me
no
wonder,
voice lines.
Yeah, it does make me wonder, like, what are they doing with that? Is there a reason for that? And I don't really know. Maybe I'm just digging a little bit too deep into it, but it's just strange how Lightfall, which was all about basically Callus and Strand, we got a bunch of voice lines.
Yeah.
But then this is supposed to be us taking on the Witness, and we got no voice lines. You'd like to think that they would
Yeah,
at least hint something.
true.
But yeah, weird. The locations we've got right now, very detailed. Locations we've never got before, very blurry, very unfinished, even though
To
they've
be
been working on
fair,
it for
like
years.
it's I was really kind of shocked that I was seeing like a lack of polish that roughly was the same as the lack of polish we saw during the Lightfall showcase. Like
Yeah,
you know, like when they
it
showed
is.
Destinations, so when they showed the Neomuna, and it was clearly like not finished.
Well, I mean, I haven't. Yeah, I guess it's hard because like I know other companies, I know other developers have done the exact same thing. The game turns out to be bloody insane, but then you get something. But the problem that Bungie's got is,
But like Witch Queen didn't look like that. I don't remember the
yeah,
Throne World
exactly.
looking
It's
that half baked when they showed it.
There were a few things in the okay. So
But it didn't
everything
stand out.
that we've seen, it did to me, but then again, that's because I was looking probably in completely different areas.
Oh, fair.
For me, I see the words pre-alpha footage on every little clip there, and I'm like, okay, so there is going to be some things that are lacking in polish. Now, I don't think the pyramid areas are lacking in polish. And I say that because I think the whole point of all the pyramid shit there is not only was it made first and foremost because they've been saying a lot about how they want to get this raid right, the Final Shapes raid. And all of it is also supposed to actually look weird and misshapen almost. Like there was the one shot they showed of like that war beast statue that was like ripped apart and
Yep.
like thrown bits and pieces in together. There's the Mindbender actually as one of the statues when they were talking about the reshaping thing. There was a Scion there too, like everything just being torn apart and put back together. There's my favorite one is this Warlock statue that's split in half, and one of it is still like being carved into the stone, the other is like full, but there's a bunch of roots in between that, and they all converge on
Oh, that
the
was a Warlock?
yeah, it's the helmet. That's what um anyway, there's a behind all the roots converge in front of this like imprint of a veiled statue.
Yeah.
um and then there's all the hands and the faces and stuff, which
I think
really
that's cool.
makes me question what the witness's aesthetic is. But
Yeah, a bit weird.
um but yeah, for Witch Queen, the thing or, actually no, let me go back to Beyond Light for this. For Beyond Light, the lack of polish for me was seen in the enemies. Europa as a destination
No, you are right,
seemed
actually. Yeah, you're dead right with Beyond Light.
relatively fine. Yeah, but the initial gameplay trailer, all of it were house dust.
Exactly. Yep,
And
yep, yep.
even Praxis looked just a little different. Aramis, I think, has stayed pretty much the same. But for Witch Queen, the lack of polish came from some of the Lightbearer Hive, in the same way that the Devil Splicers and the first Rise of Iron trailers were unfinished, where it's like the model is there. It's the models themselves are complete, but the textures are lacking in detail. Like for the Devil Splicers, the white undersuit that they had was like flat. It was clean.
Mm.
Like there was not a single bit of detail in that. But for the release, obviously it was a little more grayed up, a little dirtied. For the Lightbearer Hive, it worked very much the same. The skin textures didn't really change much, but the armor changed from this blinding white with like weird specks of like dirty like brown and blues, like specks, like literally as if you sprayed dirt on them, to a more polished, shiny blue ingrained into the white. Like when you look at Lightbearer Alakul, or at, well, really any Lightbearer Hive now. And for the Lucent Brood themselves, the spikes where they're white now, they used to be dark blue, and the elite Lucent Brood, if you look in the early press kit, specifically the one for Wellspring, the elite Lucent Brood, which nowadays are half blue, half dark blue, half white, were brown, like the elite Hidden Swarm or the basic normal Hive,
Right.
the brown ones. Like, I notice things like that. Like, if it's not the environment that's unpolished, it's gonna be the enemies
Yeah.
and some of the things that they bring. There
That's
was
fair.
a black-colored Scorn in one of the press images in front of the gate to Vow the Disciple.
I remember
First
that.
off,
Yeah. Yeah.
like you barely find any Scorn there now, but also the Scorn that we do have now are not black or silver; they are purple. Um, And then yeah, Lightfall obviously had its own. The Shadow Legion, I can tell you right now, went through like 4 different fucking iterations throughout just the showcase material. Like, so much changed. And even Tormentors look so much different than they do in the original Lightfall press kit.
Mm.
And the environment itself does not look nearly as unpolished by comparison. So I don't think the destination for the Pale Heart is going to be that much different from how it looks in the showcase. Obviously, some things are going to change, and we'll probably notice those immediately when we get to those areas. But if anything is going to change, it's going to be A, the enemies there, B, the new enemies there. Because if you also notice, the subjugators have a lot of very clean white parts put onto them.
Yeah.
Guarantee that shit's gonna change. And
Okay.
I mean, that obviously won't change the fact that they're pretty much role clones, but you know, that's
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
there are going to be a lot of things that are going to change from what we see now in the showcase versus when they start releasing more trailers, whether it's going to be like the Pale Heart Destination trailer or the new Light Supers trailer, or if they just say fuck it and do the Vidoc first.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to see a lot of different things. And I'm not saying that to like hype anyone up for like, oh yeah, things are going to look so different then. I just mean like there are going to be things changed over time because everything shown was still pre-alpha footage.
No, that's fair. I hadn't actually thought of that, so yeah, that is a fair point.
I'm glad we're not getting a new subclass.
Well, we're gonna get to that in a bit, but the next thing I do want to bring up is the story. So, from what we can see of what the story of the expansion is, like, what are your guys' thoughts on like, do you like the direction they're going? Do you have any kind of like things you kind of think will happen or whatever?
Can I talk about what I hope would happen?
Yeah, sure.
So you know how we've got Cade as this memory.
Yeah.
It would be very, very cool if we could have the memory of the other Guardians that are within the lore that we've never had the chance to actually see in game.
Hmm.
So people like Yor or Shin, or you know, some other people that are heavily spoken about within the
Gaul.
lore. Blech. Blech. Ow.
What, you like Gallbread?
Yeah, I know, I do like Gaul, but I'm talking about the people that are in the written lore
Oh, okay.
That's
that
fair.
we just don't see.
Like,
you know,
what's his name? The guy that York killed. The original last word user.
Jaren
Yeah.
Ward.
Yeah, that guy. That'd be cool.
Yeah, or the guy that Felwinter killed off Felwinter's Peak.
Hmm.
Like, if we can have the memory of Cade, then what's stopping us from having the memory of other Lightbearers?
Yeah.
Unless there's something very specific as to why only Cade is the only one possible ever to have that thing happen, I guess.
Nostalgia.
But, yeah, sure.
What do you think of like the whole thing with the witness just sitting in the corner saying, "Hey guys, just give me 5 minutes. I need to finish what I'm doing."
Max just messaged me saying to mention to you that in the trailer apparently we can see Shin Malfo.
I'm gonna press X to doubt on that.
I don't know.
I think I remember which screenshot he showed me. I'll see if I can find it.
That'd be cool though.
Yeah, sorry, what was the question?
No, wait. He's not dead though.
Shin Malfo.
He's not dead.
Well, then maybe he's already in there, mate. Just waiting for us.
What are your thoughts for the story, Archival?
I am kind of just there's so much that they need to tackle before this saga ends, and I mean, it's not to say that, you know, a lot of it can't be solved after. Like, if I really stretch it, I know, fine, you can wait a while to tackle Fickroll, and it looks like, due to the thumbnail of the Revenant episode, that is what they are going to do. But there are other things that we need to kind of clear the air of, like Ziva Wrath, not kill her, hopefully she deserves her own DLC. You know, if there are any other disciples, mainly because I would love if the witness, you know, didn't only have 2 loyalists before
Yeah.
all of this. As much as I want to say the Dreaming City curse, alas, that's not really.
That's
But
funny.
the Fallen, the Kell of Kell's prophecy, which is something that has been built up since House of Wolves, a thing that was even referenced in Plunder for all the shit that season did. You know, it's something that requires the Traveler to be like alive for, to make an active decision for, because that's the whole point of the prophecy. And I do have a feeling that by the end of the final shape, at the very least, the Traveler is not going to be around to make those kinds of decisions. I don't exactly know what that'd do to the pocket dimension that is this destination, but we know that the Traveler is very well capable of death, and I just feel like if you want to move on in the saga, you're gonna have to push that button.
Yeah.
But the main thing that I want to happen is just to actually explain everything, because they have all of these pieces that they've been building up to, whether in a straight line or just back and forth on for quite some time now. Like what was mentioned earlier, the garden, the original garden, you know, that conceptual place of impossible math where light and dark originated, the Traveler, and I guess the Veil. But like that's something that's still being mentioned. Like the Lord's Tab for Tessellation still mentions that place, and
Yep.
I think this is the time where we really need to actually definitively confirm whether the Traveler and Veil were things that were built, or if it was something that they just kind of existed. They just have to exist. They simply exist.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to... I don't know. We just have to... We have to deal with their origins. We have to deal with them. I don't want to have dreams from the Traveler anymore. I don't want to have the Traveler kind of sort of not talk to us by just using other people's words. I want to speak to the Traveler. I want to have a conversation with it because I think now is the time we're having this thing in center focus again. We need to wrap this up, and we need to speak to these paracausal powers, and we need to speak to the witness, for fuck's sake. Like, it's actually kind of maddening that in all of this time we haven't spoken to the witness once, and the closest we ever got to it was it possessing our ghost and speaking at us, but we've never really like encountered it face to face. And I get, yeah, it could dice us in 2 seconds like it did to several people, but it's the main antagonist, and to have a story where you don't encounter the main antagonist at least once, which I know the raid is going to be about the witness, but the raid is also not really a place where story is like
Yep.
the center point. Like, yes, it's important to the story, but it's not the place where you will get interactions, like back and forth interactions. Even when in D2 they've had enemy like bosses talk to us throughout the raid, it's been very much talking at us and not us talking in a conversation. And we need to have a conversation with this thing, whether it's just like an actual, something people would actually say to it, or if it's just some cheesy ass line like we had in Beyond Light or Forsaken. Like, we need to talk to this damn thing. And it needs to acknowledge the fact that we are actively fucking up its plans.
Well, attempting to, yeah.
Oh, yeah, but considering that I'm pretty sure we're going to come out on top in the end,
Yep.
I mean, it's fairly obvious we kill the witness, right?
Yep.
yeah, like, no matter what crazy shit needs to happen to do that, I do want, that moment where it's just us and the witness alone. The witness is like fucking 1 HP, and it's just like a little back and forth before we finally end it.
Yeah, like, no, I think the whole thing about the witness kind of ties into like my thoughts about the story. So I'm going to say this, and like this might end up being like a this aged poorly kind of thing, but like honestly, I'm so confident that won't be the case. So I'm just gonna say it. I think the final shape is clickbait. I don't think it's not the ending. It's not going to be the ending. It's the ending of the witness's story, and that's it, right? I don't see us permadying, obviously. I don't see the gardener permadying. I don't see the actual darkness being defeated or the winnower. I think that we're gonna go into the garden, walk around, eventually get to the witness and beat it. And then we're going to look at the year of filler that's ahead of us. And yeah, like an issue I have with the story right away is from, again, Beyond Light, there was this, supposedly trilogy of expansions that would lead us to Luke Smith called it like a moment or whatever, but it's like, the conclusion, the climactic conclusion to the Light and Darkness saga. But when you think about it, it's ironic that it's an ending to the Light and Darkness saga when we're gonna still have the Light and Darkness afterwards, right? So I think right off the bat, right, I think the final shape is a poor... No, the final shape is actually... Yeah, no, like even the final shape is clickbait, right? Because what I think a lot of people who are invested in the lore of Destiny, or even people who just like the story, what they don't know is that the final shape is not one, like, it's not one thing. like technically anybody can have a final shape, right? Like a definition. Like what the gardener's final shape for the universe would be different to the winnower or to the witness, and it's literally been proven this season with dialogue that so we learn what the witness wants for the final shape to be, but then we literally can look at the lore at what the actual deep or darkness, right, the winnower says, and it's a completely different definition, right? So technically everybody has a different final shape. So okay, well, what's the final shape? Well, really, there's not going to be a final shape in the final shape. It's about us stopping a final shape, if that makes sense. And that's the witness's final shape. Because there's nothing that really happens after the whole point of of a final shape is that this is how the universe is going to be for eternity, right? It's not like there's going to be like a continuing war. Like this is when the final shape happens, whoever's final shape it is, they win. That's like it, and then everything goes the way they want after that, right? And that's why like it's such like a important thing in the Destiny universe, the final shape of the universe. Like after, like that's it, like that's. But in reality, no, it's just us stopping somebody's final shape. So I kind of see the whole thing as a bit of clickbait. And I think there are people. I don't think there are many people. I think most people can kind of see this coming, but I think there are going to be people who go into this expecting some grand finale, and I think they're going to be disappointed when they beat the witness, and then they just have to kind of go back to doing strikes and playing Gambit as they get ready for the Scorn season. There's only one thing about this expansion story that I am genuinely excited for, and I mean that I am excited. And it is the mystery of the Veiled Woman statues. I am genuinely excited because I remember, right, ever since Witch Queen, everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people were like, oh, the winnower doesn't exist. The witness is the winnower, and the witness is the big bad, and all whatever, you know. And then in Root of Nightmares, that statue pops up again. It's, hey guys, so explain, riddle me this. Like, what am I? And it's like, oh, we still don't know what that is. And as we saw in that final shape cinematic, or not cinematic, in the showcase, those trailers are in the destination. There's no other point, there's no other place where that can get an answer. There's no other place. Now, you guys know me, and anybody watching this knows me. Like, I have literally always been saying that these statues are of the gardener, and I think there's no better place to reveal that than literally where the gardener is. And
I reckon we'll see the gardener.
in my opinion, I think at the very least, like, the gardener as a character is going to be revealed. I personally would like to see her actually physically revealed, like take form or something. But I do think that the story is going to be us saving the gardener, because what we're effectively doing, right? While also revealing her as a character, and that is something I'm excited for. I really like. There's no way that you don't reveal, because like the gardener is pretty much set in stone as a character. The lore is very concrete about it. There's so much evidence from D1, even as recent as Beyond Light, and the idea that we go through Final Shape and the gardener just hides in the corner and we don't find her, or she doesn't talk to us, and we literally finish the Final Shape and the gardener isn't revealed, but then we still get little lore bits about, that's gonna trigger me so badly. That's going to trigger me so badly. Or if there's like, we kill the witness and then it's like, that's it, guys, and then they expect us to play the next year not knowing if there's actually going to be a next big bad or not. But anyway, I know I rambled on, but story-wise, right, I think it's clickbait, the whole Final Shape aspect of it, but I do think we are going to have the gardener revealed. I do, 100%. But anyway, that's, yeah.
I definitely think that we would have to get like a conversation with the fucking traveler by the end of this. Like, there's no way that we
dude.
shouldn't. I mean,
Not even a thank you. Not even a thank. Can you imagine
like,
we beat the witness and then it just poops us out and then that's it. Like, you're gone. Bye bye. Evicted.
yeah, like
Takes the
even if
subclass with it.
even if it's just at the end, even though I'd be really disappointed if it were just at the end, just something, literally anything, an interaction with this actual deity that we've had hanging above the city forever and is now in orbit around the planet. Like, we need
Yep. And
a conversation.
they said that this is the time to give us answers, and they said we're going to be looking at some really like big picture stuff, or they said that roughly.
Yeah,
Like
They say a
and
lot
you
of things,
can't.
mate.
That's true, they do. But like, you can't have like
That's
all
true.
of that big picture stuff without having a conversation about the cosmic side of Destiny. That's been kind of it's so weird the way Bungie's been treating that side, because I feel like at this point you can confidently state that they've been going back and forth on it. I don't know if it's just like they are actually going back and forth on what they want to do with it, or if it's just a matter of they think unveiling revealed shit way too early
I wouldn't
and
be
now they're
surprised.
like overcompensating,
Yeah,
because
true.
you go to you go through unveiling and you get introduced to everything that makes all of what has been seen makes sense. You have the garden, you have this place that builds upon concepts such as the Tree of Silver Wings and the Gardener Traveler thing. We have an introduction to the darkness end of things because we know that that is a power opposite to the light. Um, and then we get nothing about it for months on end, and then we get introduced to the witness, and we're like, okay, so that's a tangible threat. And then Spiral comes out in Lightfall, and it's like, oh yeah, but the Gardener and Winnower still exist. This whole thing still happened. And then you have Bungie coming out and saying, oh, the witness may have written unveiling. We don't know. Don't trust it. And then we get the cutscene that basically backs up the entry from Inspiral that talked about the origin of the first knife, and that matched so well with the witness cutscene. And I caught on to that immediately. I was like, oh shit, okay, everything really makes sense now. We should really worry about what the hell the veil is. But then suddenly I look around at the general reception and everybody's confused, and I'm like,
You can't
why?
blame them though.
It's
Like the
just
communication form is it's done so poorly.
it's fair. It's just like all of these things to me have just clicked. It's all made sense, and then I look around and everybody thinks that the world has gotten like more mysterious, and I made a jab at it in the my thoughts on Season of the Deep video, but the reception of that cutscene's always confused the shit out of me, and even now with Tessellation, which still has mentions of
Yep.
terms like the garden or the
Yep.
gardener winnow or things that relate to all of that. It's like you can't have this not exist and then say that it doesn't exist and it's all just propaganda, because there are so many other sources that say the same shit
Yep.
and they have no idea that the witness is even a thing.
Even D1,
Like,
with like the concept
especially
of a
D1.
gardener in a garden or whatever, like whatever.
Yeah, like Bungie very clearly had things that set all of this shit up from the beginning, and it's something that they can't really go back on at this point. And from what it looks like, I don't think they do plan on going back on it for the final shape. But I would not be surprised if the reason why things are so confusing now is because for a while they were trying to go back on it until eventually they went, never mind. We should probably do this. And
That's I'm not saying that 100% happened, but I actually said this in my gardener video. I said that like Shadowkeep, they low key introduced two villains at the same time, right? One was like upfront cutscenes, dialogue, all that stuff, and then you have like the one in like a lore book that like most people didn't even read, right? And effectively, right, you've got like I'm using Star Wars analogies. You've got like the master and the apprentice in terms of like power, right? And this whole time it's been about the witness, and I think like the final shape is about the witness and that whole story. But I don't think, right? I don't think that they just did unveiling to give us information or have us, because like for me, like, and I know there are people who think like I'm just crazy or I'm looking too deep into things, but the way that I've always interpreted that lore book is that, like, okay, as a result of this, I see the witness, I acknowledge that, but I'm also aware that there's something else down the road beyond that, right? But I don't think that was their like true intention either. I would not be surprised if when they introduced the witness, there was a lot of not conflict, but you know what I mean? Like, do we get rid of the old? Like, listen, like, I have that one piece of concept art that I think is the winner. It's not even confirmed to be the winner, and that's the only picture we have, right? Like, there's not that much available to us about a lot of these concepts, right? They're like, do we just ditch that in favor of this new character that we've made, especially since like a lot of the writers weren't even there for D1, right? Or do we stay true to like the core story? Because I actually think, like you said about them sticking with the old D1 stuff, I would actually argue that whether they like it or not, whatever those stories are or those plot points or whatever, that they recognize that a lot of that is actually like the soul of Destiny as a narrative. And to completely go away from that and make up your new stuff, it's not really going to feel the same. And I think Lightfall, for example, which is completely irrelevant, really is a good example of that. So no, yeah, I think you're dead right. I think on one hand they were like, we can see maybe where this goes with the witness, maybe, but I think it's gone somewhere down the middle where they've kind of pushed the winnower, off to the side, and we're focusing on the witness. And I think with the winnower now, I think what they're doing is they're going to use the winnower for the post final shape story, because I think.
Do you actually think that he's still a thing then?
Oh no, this season all but confirmed it for me, 100%.
Yeah. Like,
No,
it
no,
kind of
no.
did for me too, but there are still people who think that bloody thingy is the winner.
No, but but again, last season the cutscene about the witness's origins confirmed that it's not the winnower.
I know.
Yeah, no, it's and this is what I always say. I know I'm getting off topic and I apologize, but like, I have people that like come at me, and when I say come at me, I don't mean disagree with me. I mean like they disagree with me, but they don't actually provide an argument. They just like insult me. And the only response I have is like with a lot of these things that I'm saying, I'm getting it from actual lore. And so for you to disprove that, that means that the burden of proof is on you. So to say, for example, that the witness is the winnower, or the winnower doesn't exist, or the gardener doesn't exist, I'm using the lore. And so that means you need to, the burden of proof is on you. But no, I think, to answer your question, Brad, I think that I'm going to be shook if we see the winnower of this expansion. I don't think we will. I think that the lore is, again, going to really confirm that the winnower exists. I can see the winnower being what we work our way towards for the next 1, 2, 3 years.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's, yeah.
I believe that I don't. With me, when it comes to the arguments around the winnower and the witness, I try to make it clear that when I say that the winnower is like the ultimate darkness entity, I try to make it clear that it doesn't mean I think it is more powerful or has more agency or is a bigger bad for this saga at least than the witness, because I see the gardener and winnower as, I think, very different things than what most people would.
That's fair.
Because I see them as similar to it. Okay, so it's like, I hope this isn't too complicated, and I also hope that this doesn't go on forever. Greek gods, in terms of their status as deities, because to call anything in Destiny a god is to acknowledge that most of them really don't fit the same bill as like religious deities, because most, like, Oryx isn't a god, for example,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
a
yeah.
really powerful entity. The Witness isn't a god, but like the Traveler and the Veil, these are things that have existed forever, literally. And they're, if you were to take Unveiling, rip the allegory from it, and look at it as it's supposed to be, then they are quite literally responsible for the creation of everything.
Yep.
And to me, that means that they are the closest thing Destiny has to gods.
Oh, 100%.
However, whereas most gods that we attribute to in lore have um sort of agency, have not only infinite power, infinite knowledge, but also infinite will, I guess. The Gardener and the Winnower have rules that they are bound to. Like they cannot be more than what they are, which is what the Winnower says at the end of Unveiling. It can't do anything other than promote simplicity, and the Gardener can't do anything but promote complexity. And even the thing about it in Unveiling, about it killing a flower, that flower is the same pattern. Its death promotes complexity. As much as it, you know, it's not really its job to do that. It means a wrench has been thrown into the game, that something has to change. And the they just can't do as much as you think they could if you were to call them gods. So to have for me to say that the Winnower is the highest on the darkness totem pole doesn't mean that it's the big bad of the saga. It just means that it is to the darkness as the Traveler is to the light. The Witness is the big bad because it's a flower that has transcended. It is a being that has all of that agency, that has now that's now wielding all of this power a billionfold thanks to the merge. It is the most powerful being in the universe because, unlike the entities that do have more power than it, it actually has the will to use it however the hell it wants. And that's my argument for why, no matter how much I talk about the Winnower or the Gardener, that I'm not disproving that the Witness is the big bad. I'm just saying that there are other things in the dark. And I think that what Bungie said about the Veil containment entries being sort of building on things that will come after the saga, and also what their whole goal around making them in the first place was, I think that the Veil surviving all of this in the final shape is not only likely, but almost guaranteed,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you have this instance, I think, this potential instance of Chekhov's gun, where Kiyoma Esi mentions, what would happen if the Vex got their hands on the Veil?
Yep.
And you have this entity that has an innate drive to cut everything else down into a simple final shape, if you were. And then you have the Vex, a species that has that programming just innately in them.
Yeah.
Like, it is their singular purpose. Even the Soul Divisive,
Yep. Yep.
all of the Vex have this drive. So to have the Vex, which, by the way, believe in the garden, I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah.
You have the Vex, and you have the Veil, and then you have Neomuna, which I do think they will use as sort of a launching point for all of this, because obviously that's where the Veil is, and that's where a lot of Vex stuff is. And we have to deal with the fact that Neomuna's government either had no idea or is covering up the fact that the Veil is a single darkest entity in existence.
Pretty much.
I think all of that will be a launching point after the final shape, but I I will say I do think that the Traveler dying is very likely, and I do think that will lead to very dire consequences in the future.
I think that even if the
Um,
Traveler dies, though, like as the machine, I think the Gardener's gonna be fine.
just get another traveler made.
Just go to IKEA, build another one.
Literally, just pull from collections, bro.
just Lego, like just put it
What you
back, put the
doing?
piece back in. You know.
Slight change of topic, but Crota's been killed.
Who did it?
Oh shit!
It was Salto Grappo,
Is that world's first? Yeah.
Unsurprising.
world's first for the 4th time.
Look,
GG.
maybe Teta will get the
Well,
finals.
I say it's world's first. Max informs me that you have to complete the raid twice, once all the way through, and a second time whilst also completing all of the challenges in order to claim
Ooh.
world's first. So they're on the second run right now, doing the challenges, and then he'll get the world's first. It's probably because it's a reprised raid. So just adding a little bit of extra challenge, I guess.
No,
Yeah.
didn't they do that with Fault of Glass?
Did they?
They had to beat it twice.
Oh, okay.
Well, that
Remember?
was also a reprised raid.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess the logic still applies, but I guess, yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Necrochasm is obviously in the game. There's a white version, a blue version, and a legendary version. So I guess that's for the quest line.
Yeah.
Yep.
Husk of the Pit, baby.
What was the blue one called? Was there a blue one?
Wait, maybe there wasn't actually. Let me
I
have a look.
Because the legendary is Eidolon Ally.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're right. No, actually there isn't a blue one. My bad. It's just white and legendary.
Okay.
Just looks like a stone.
When will we get Murmur back, you cowards?
Yep.
Mate, I keep looking. In fact, I know this is a completely change of topic. I have to look at my screen. Where is it? Mate, I cannot.
The
I cannot
armor.
stop looking at this. I can't stop looking at it with this shader as well.
Ooh, I didn't
Yeah.
even look at it with that shader. That's sick.
It looks incredible, dude. I want it so bad.
I wish Erebos Glance worked better on the robes because it looks so good on the helmet and the
I
boots.
know. Yeah, true. But it works well with literally all the pieces. Even the helmet. The helmet looks sick with this shader.
Oh, well, I guess I know what I'm gonna use for that armor.
Yep. Dude, I just can't wait. Anyway, yeah, sorry.
No,
Back
you're
to
good. You're good. You're good. Uh, I guess something I will say that's not like story related, but what what's your opinion on the supers?
the best one by far is the Titan.
Yep.
The Hunter one looks really cool too. I think the Warlock got shafted a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I don't really care for the Hunter one or the Warlock one. I am going to be that asshole though and steal the axe every time from everybody on my fire team who happens to play Titan. I know
Fair.
that's what
Yeah.
it's for, but I'm sorry, you threw the axe, it's now forfeit. Um, it's mine now.
For me, the hunter one is my favorite, just because I love the dashes and it just looks it fits
Yeah.
my play style. But I don't know how good it's gonna be in PVE, but I can see it being a menace in PvP. Can you imagine like you activate Dawnblade or something, and then I activate that, and I use like one or two of my dashes to get close to you, and I zigzag, and then by the time like I have my third one, I'm able to just kill you. Like I think the outplay potential with that super is gonna be nuts. Um, what do you guys? So okay, I think like Bungie even themselves have, I think, said about like one of the reasons why they didn't introduce a new subclass, like a new subclass, because they didn't want. They looked at how it was implemented in Beyond Light and Lightfall, and they didn't want to go down the whole, spend the whole campaign learning the subclass, right? But
Do you know how you solve that?
The way the Taken King did it. That's what I tell
Yep.
people. Yeah. It's so simple.
I don't know
Just
why they didn't think about doing that with Strand, but
because that's over delivering because they have to make extra missions then. You know?
just put it in the end game quest.
I mean, I guess, but it's I think the other thing as well, and I'm actually really shocked that they didn't do a darkness subclass. And I think this is another I think this is the real reason why I think we will get one in the future. The darkness subclasses provide excellent marketing for expansions. Beyond Light, Stasis. You get the ice destination with the ice subclass. Oh, it's actually crystals. Shut up. It's themed to be ice, right? And then you have Witch Queen, and like I remember Brad and other people being like, well, it's gonna be like poison or something. And I didn't want it to be purely because I hate the fact that whatever the destination is, they're just automatically gonna make it fit that. But then, well, you look at some of the early things in Strand, and it was like kind of poison based or poison themed, and that's why I think like Joe Blackburn saying, "Oh, Strand was never supposed to be in Witch Queen." Well, no, because you called it Vapor then. Like it was. Yeah, you reskinned it and you changed it, but I think there was 100% supposed to be one in Witch Queen, and it was probably going to be that theme. And with Lightfall again, but yeah, I think we will get a Darkness subclass in the future. I think that again shows that defeating the Witness is not like the end of the story as they're kind of putting it, right? And yeah, like I know they're like, well, it's not the end of the Destiny story, it's the end of the Light and Darkness saga, but the light and the darkness really controls everything. Like, if you were able to just make it so that nobody could use darkness you didn't want, or there was no darkness entities or characters or sword logic in what are we doing? What's the point, right? And the same thing if the light like dies, and it's like we know the light's not gonna die in the like we have to have our powers, right? They're not gonna just okay now you only have two subclass like so. But anyway, I think the new subclasses or the subclass, sorry, the supers, I think it was a missed opportunity. Because I want to put this out to you guys. Now Lightfall failed completely in this regard, but they were still trying to do the same messaging. Us getting darkness subclasses, it wasn't just for the marketing or for the gameplay aspect, which I mean I know that's a major part of it, but it was also, if you think about it story wise, we had our 3 light subclasses with all these supers, right? And yet when you look at when we got Stasis and Strand, what was the theme behind it? Well, our light isn't strong enough to beat this challenge. We need the darkness to get that. We needed Stasis to defeat the Fallen in Europa or whatever. And they made it sound like we needed Strand to beat the Witness, but that was just, And I think, right, and now this is me kind of going off the deep end or whatever, but something else that separates the Witness from the Winnower as characters is, again, not only just what their final shape is by definition, but also how they treat us. And the big thing is that the Winnower as a character is very separate towards everything else, right? The Winnower only talked with Oryx because Oryx really proved himself. Like that's a big, like the fact that Oryx talked to the Winnower in D1 is a big deal, right? Like the Winnower sees like it above everything else. Like, just don't touch me. Ew. Like, stop. When you look at how the Winnower refers to us, like referring to us, I know most people aren't even gonna like really pick up on this, but the Winnower refers to us as majestic. That's a big deal. The Winnower doesn't use the word majestic lightly. The Winnower refers to only 2 other things as majestic: itself and the final shape, which it, I guess, kind of believes that it is or whatever. And so anyway, the other thing again is when you look at how the Gardener is using us as an argument against the Winnower with the whole the Ring of Spears and the yada yada. The Gardener can't interfere with us or like help us, because then that's going to kind of, you know, interfere what decisions we make going forward, right? Like we need to naturally prove that the gardener's logic is the natural logic, and we can't do that if the gardeners there like helping us and giving us incentives to do whatever. But the winnower can. The winnower can interfere. The winnower can try and tempt us. The winnower can try, and that's actually the big thing. The witness doesn't want to try and get us on their side. The winnower does. And I'm not going to go into a whole thing. I've already talked about it in several videos or whatever. But I think it would have been. Now this is not a Bungie thing to do. It's never going to happen. It never would happen. But if I was the one making the final shape, I would have us go into the portal, go through the destination, and constantly get our butt kicked. The witness has been there for like a year now, fully set up, fully prepared for us. We can't beat it. It's probably got like a power buff or something, right? We can't beat it. We're not strong enough, yada yada. And then we get a little tap on the shoulder or a little voice in our ear, and it's like, you know, you're not strong enough to do this. You know, look, the light is failing you and it's weak, but you can be strong enough. And then we basically have to choose the lesser, seemingly the lesser of two evils, which is the winnower. And the winnower is what gives us that third subclass. And anyway, that would have been brutal, because not only are we kind of being idiots and accepting help and all that with the winnower, but at the same time, it's literally like these guys are in your realm to the gardener, and they're using your power, and even there they're not strong enough to beat the forces of the darkness. And look at them, they're coming to me for help. And unlike you, I am graciously letting them have this power. That would have been great. I think it's a missed opportunity. I know that's a fan fiction thing right there, but it's
It's cool though.
It would have been, and that's kind of what I wanted with Nezarec, right? Archival probably is picking up on repeating themes in our conversations, but it would have been the same with Nezarec, where, like, I never wanted Nezarec to be a good guy. That's never what I said. But at the same time, I didn't want Nezarec to be a disciple, purely because the motivations don't add up, right? What is Nezarec's sin, guys? You look at the lore of Nezarec's sin, the helmet, and it pretty much lays out what's the motivations, and they're not the same as the witness, right? And basically it was a similar thing where we should potentially, like, either resurrect Nezarec or team up with him, and because like a lesser evil, and basically like unleash him on the witness and be like, okay, you go deal with that guy, and then when you're done, then we'll talk, and then we'll face off. But these types of stories, I don't think Bungie, I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry. Dude, I'm tired. I've been editing all day, man. I am tired. Okay. Anyway.
I will.
Yeah.
I'll say, related to Nezarec, but not really related to the greater conversation. Yesterday I went and did a little like basic sketch work for something that I'm doing,
Okay.
project that I'm doing, and just to kind of like get the sort of vibe that I wanted, I sketched out every variant of Tormentor
Oh, nice.
and Nezarec, and I realized then that I really don't mind Nezarec being that shape. I just really wished he had a cape or a cloak.
I mean, he did in the statue of him.
He
Yeah, I was gonna
didn't.
say the statue is what I wanted
He
to
did
look
in
like.
statue,
Yeah.
yeah. I just wish he had that when we fought him, because I think all of my complaints about Nezarec's design would have been almost immediately fixed if he just had a cloak.
I don't know. I just can't help but think it's Nezarec Sin on a gorilla ape body. Like, it just keeps coming to my mind.
Yeah,
It's so
throwing void frisbees at me, and yeah, it's whatever.
Mm.
Yeah, I know. They butchered my boy. I know.
Hey, at least Segment's mentioned now.
Stop, dude.
They've started to mention Segment
I-
now that
lem-
Nezaric's out the way.
Let me just say this. I don't talk about this, right, at all. This is like one of the lore things that I do not talk about purely because of how like this is like super deep layer if it's even a thing, right? But if that, let me just say this for the record, if that ends up being true, there will be a reckoning. There will be a reckoning.
His little toes started twinkling just then.
Yep. My toes twinkled.
Toes twinkled, yes.
Okay. But anyway, we'll see. I don't know. Like the thing is, like the Sekhmet stuff isn't even that. It's not that crazy. It's just Sekhmet is just another word for the gardener character. It's, I guess, if I had to guess, it's just a name that the pyramid race gave. Like, listen, I'm sorry, dude. It's already confirmed. The pyramid race worshipped the gardener as a god of life. Okay. Sekhmet is just a cultural name for the god. That's just it, right? That's basically like I think like the craziest thing that would happen is if there's ever a cutscene and the witness is talking about the gardener or actually meets her, and it's just like, oh, Sekhmet or whatever. That's all it is. It's nothing that crazy. It's just another name that's associated with the character and at the same time associated with her link to the race, right? Um, but we'll see. Again, it's whatever. Anyway. Um, I want to talk about for just a little bit with you guys because it's not that big of a thing, but I want to talk about this season. We were in season of the witch. Starting
Season of the
off.
Redemption.
Best name ever.
Yep. Anyway, first of all, starting off, what do you guys think about the story that we have at the moment going? We have
I think so far,
two missions.
personally, so far in game, personally, I think is a W.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I think it is a W.
I'm very mixed.
Really?
Yeah, because like, okay.
Now you've
Here,
got some explaining to do.
yeah. So here's what here's what I thought going in. One, we need Savathun. Okay, fine. So let's bring her back immediately. And we didn't. Now, admittedly, we at least started working with Amaru right off the bat.
I
So
love
like,
that guy, by the way.
if
You
we
do or
weren't
don't?
going to
I do.
if we weren't going to resurrect Savathun immediately, then at the very least get Amaru up to speed. And luckily you did, and luckily this time he's actually saying things that are interesting, and I actually like him as a character now. I also really love that we snatched him.
That was so good.
That was cool.
That
Yeah,
was. It's
that was a
even
good
better
touch.
when you. It's even better when you see the player movement because it wasn't even like a snap grab. It was like we just slowly reach out and boop. It's like, anyway, so that is great. I like that at the very least. I do have a little fear that Savathun won't come back. Now, it's not as great as some of the other concerns that I have. I do think Savathun will eventually be resurrected, and I don't think it will be right at the very end. And I say that because the trailers have shown us that Zivu Wrath is at some point going to get involved directly. I don't think we'll see her model or anything, but I
Have you
know
seen
that
any of the leaks for this season yet?
yes, but I'm not going to talk about that.
All right.
I do think that all of that has the potential to go to places, and yes, I have seen the leaks, and that is very, very interesting. But there are other things that I'm not so certain about, like the whole plan that Savathun has going on with Eris and Eris's involvement here in general. Because I love Eris as a character.
Yep.
She's my favorite character in the entire series, really.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, like she's been like she started off as just the typical like cryptic person, but then Taken King really started to add on to that, and it doesn't help that the Books of Sorrow really got me into the lore. But just kept going and going. She's pretty much the most intelligent character in the fucking series at this point.
True.
Like she's
Yeah, that's actually
done
true.
so much without falling to like the typical shit that people like to throw her in, like, ooh, she did something mildly cryptic, she's evil. And I'm glad that she hasn't fallen to that. I just don't want that to be something that is a threat, because it feels like that they are building towards that with some of Ikora's dialogue, with like, um, be careful and all that. And I had a talk with a friend yesterday about it as well, about how all the dialogue around Eris's decisions here seem to be doing the same thing that um, all the dialogue around Amanda Holiday and Defiance did, where they're clearly setting something up. And I don't want that to. I don't want a corrupt Eris. I don't want an evil Eris at all. I don't think they'll do that, because I think Bungie is pretty aware of how people who actually know Eris as a character feel about Eris. But it's still a worry nonetheless. And just the plan in general, I feel like wasn't necessary, because we have the Books of Sorrow. We know that Oryx had a completely different way to subvert Zivu Arath's tithe system, and I don't think that having Eris turn into a hive god was necessary, when we could have done the Oryx method of poisoning her tribute system, because that worked. And it seems a lot easier than just trying to overpower Zero Wrath through the sword logic, which admittedly we are the best candidates to help Eris do that, considering if the sword logic's retroactive, then we have enough power to have a throne world that's twice the size of the planet Earth. Like, we've killed
Yeah.
so many powerful things, it's
Oh, mate,
ridiculous.
I'd love to have my own throne world. Imagine that. You get to create your own bloody throne world and place
Like your own like
furniture
helm.
into it. Yeah, like Sims, but throne world.
Yeah, and again, if it's retroactive, our throne world's at least the size of Earth, because that's how big Oryx's throne space was, that's how big the hole in Saturn is, and I know those two are related because of the way the Dreadnought's weapon works.
I'd
We
have to
killed
go
him.
into that.
We killed him. We killed Zol.
Yeah, true.
We're probably the single strongest non-witness being in the universe in terms of sword logic power.
I think the only reason why the Witness is more powerful than us, it's like you took every Guardian and then combined their power. That's basically what happened with the Witness.
Oh yeah, I 100% think the same thing. I think if defeating the Witness involves unraveling it to get just the original person who initiated the ritual, I think then it'll be a very even fight.
But
But
wait to find out what gun we turn him into,
none, we turn him into the ghost.
right? Just have a floating head.
But yeah, I don't know. The season is very. It's interesting. I won't deny that it's interesting, and there are a lot of things that sound good on paper that I've seen, that I know that they added to the files already. But I need to see it play out and get executed normally, because at any moment, this is a third season of a year. Historically, that's been god awful. Worthy was good premise, shit execution, good live event after 2 hours of waiting. Splicer, great gameplay, neat aesthetic, cool ass music. If your name wasn't Mithrax or Saint, I hate your story. Plunder. I don't need to talk about why I don't like Plunder. This season hits off better than all of them. And its intrigue factor is so much greater than all of them. It just needs to execute those factors well. And I think it is justified for me to be worried that they won't. So I'm not going to say that I hate the season. I just think that
No, we understand. You said it's the worst season that you've ever experienced. No, you said it perfectly clear to me.
Yeah. Because
I think it just needs a couple weeks more to
Yeah,
bake
that's fair.
before
Yeah.
I can definitively go around saying
Star
this is
Baker,
a
mate.
good season. Yes.
I think
um
I think they've hit it off pretty well. I mean, I think saying that it needs to have a strong execution, I think, is definitely fair enough compared to what we've had previously.
yeah. Um
For
Definitely
sure.
though, 100% best season name ever. I'm so glad they did it. Missed opportunity with Risen. Luckily they capitalized on it now. If they didn't, that would have been really sad.
We literally had a
Uh,
conversation, and you were like, "I want it to be Season of the Witch,"
it has
and
to
then
be season of it.
as I saw, I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is what he wanted."
Wait, you actually said Season of the Witch.
Yeah, dude, I've been asking
Wow.
for a season called Season of the Witch since
Wow.
Risen because I saw Witch Queen and I saw that the season was gonna have something to do with it. And I was like, Season the Witch, Season the Witch, Season the Witch, please just fucking do it. I know there's somebody there that wants to do it. And then it was
Please.
Season the Risen, and I was like, oh. But now, after Light, especially after Lightfall, if they didn't call this Season of the Witch, I would have been upset because they went out of their way in Lightfall to make a title called Virtual Fighter, and they went out of their way to make a title called Dream Warrior. And I'm sorry, if you're gonna reference shit like that, you better fucking reference Season of the Witch. Halloween 3, the only Halloween movie not to do with Michael Myers. Also, same season Festival of the Lost happens. Perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
That's me rambling. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. What did you thought it
What
was
was your-
good,
Me.
Brad? Yeah.
Yeah, I think, mate, when I saw Eris's fucking transformation with her fingers like going all twisted and shit, I just saw that and was like, why can't I have that armor? Like, it looks so cool. I think the whole premise, mate, what I thought, like, okay, I mean, oh god, how do I even say this? There's a lot that I think this season has done right so far, both in terms of story and gameplay. I like that the red war weapons have made a return because I actually did like those weapons from the kiosk, which you can now claim with the current season engrams. I like how they're listening to player feedback when it comes to armor design. I mean, we all know and love the armor that we got from the raid. I was unsure as to whether or not they were going to bring that back, and they did. So the fact that I even saw that pop on my screen, I freaked out in that showcase.
Mm-hmm.
I like how as Ikora is questioning Eris whether or not this is a good idea, she's already in the process of the ritual of doing it. Like, I just think that's so cool. Like, rather than this, like, timid, let me listen to your opinion first before I do it, she's literally just got the mentality of, I know exactly what the hell I'm doing. Feel free to say whatever you want, I'm just gonna continue anyway. Like,
It's a very Eris move.
it is, and it just makes sense, which is why it was enjoyable to watch. Imaru as a character is exact. So you know when we were doing that series, Ben, with my Max and yours as character,
Mm.
Imaru is literally like my ghost that I described to you. He's got the attitude that I like, the fucking shell that I like, which I want. And the
do
voice
want the
actor is
Hypo shell.
incredible. Yeah, like literally, it has to be a thing. I just don't like. People keep saying, "Yeah, we got Segura,"
Does
and I mean, sure, we did get Segura, but like, just do it. It's just such a like obvious thing. People wanted a Puka, and we haven't got that yet. But
I'm gonna interject slightly and say that even the Segura shell isn't like as perfect as it's not like the exact same shell. There are like a couple of differences there, and that's always bothered me about the shell.
yeah, yeah, true. Yeah, I know. But yeah, I think I love Amaru. I think he's great. I think his attitude's great. I think his sarcasm's great. I love I can't remember specifically what the line was, but Eris, in typical Eris fashion, was describing something in the most cryptic, grammatically correct way possible with all of these big words which people pretend they know what they mean but they don't, and you just kind of go along with it and you're like, yeah, that sounds cool, and then you just got Amaru in the background saying it actually just means this, it's really not that deep, like why are you describing it in such a way? I just think it's so like, it's just so good, it's just so well written. I think they did a good job with that. Like, for example, I think actually this week is a good example, right? This week, in terms of gameplay, we basically got nothing. Like, you explore a lost sector that's changed in a slightly different way just to shoot some runes. That is it. The entire time you're basically listening to the dialogue of the story. And honestly, I think it's the best week that we've had in a season in fucking ages. Being able to listen to Savathun and Ziva Araf's conversation just as you kill Oryx back in Destiny 1, fucking incredible, mate. Give me more of that. I think that's really cool. Listening to Ziva Araf have a fit, and then Savathun literally just calls her a petulant child. I love how we get to listen to conversations between Savathun and Imaru, where Savathun basically says to him, I know I'm gonna die. I know they're stronger than me, so this is what I want you to do during that time. Like, she's already pre-planned her death with Amaru, and she's done it in such a way that makes us feel like we're smart and we know what we're doing, when actually it's just what Savathun's planned from the beginning. I just think that's cool. I think so far it's really good, and like Kaival said, I think the execution just needs to be right. If they can nail the execution, then as far as I'm concerned, this has probably been one of, well, if not the best season we've had in a fucking long time. Genuinely.
I'll say I did not think of the events of this week in that way, and when you put it that way, that does kind of redeem it a little in my eyes, because when I was finished, I kind of gave it the same treatment I gave some of Deep's mid weeks,
Yeah.
where just kind of nothing happens. And yeah, there's a little bit of lore tidbit, but yeah, I do, when you put it that way, I do think that helps my outlook on it. I mean, I guess I should also give it some leeway. I mean, we have 10 weeks of a season according to the triumphs, so that's more than usual. I guess it can afford a couple weeks of little in terms of gameplay.
Yeah.
Do you want my opinion? No,
Yeah,
shut
go for
up.
it.
I think that my favorite season overall will always be Season of Arrivals, but in terms of a seasonal story, this is my favorite season. Full stop. This actually,
good.
this has, like, when I listen to the dialogue, it's like I'll be like I hate the whole, oh, stand next to the radio and listen to two other characters talk to each other. Like, you're joining some Skype group call and they don't know you're there. Like, what is this? What is this form of storytelling? It's whatever. Anyway, a lot of the times, like, I just kind of cringe inside and I'm just like, okay, whatever. It's whatever, you know, it's passable. It's just okay. I like get excited when I listen to the dialogue and the story, especially like, I remember listening to the conversation between Savathun and Zivu. And Zivu kept going about her and her and her. And I'm like, who is she talking about? Where are the ones that killed Oryx? What's going on? And then I realized that by the end of it, I was like, oh, wow. No. They recognize that even though we killed Oryx, we only got to him because of Eris.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, that's so good. And they see her as a hive, and they oh, I just thought that was brilliant. And then, like what Brad said about how like Eris, it was all part of Savathun's plan, like all of it. I just, it's, and the reason why I love it so much is because it's nuance. And Destiny severely has been lacking nuance. They write the most basic, feel good, or you're supposed to feel bad, but instead you laugh, like with Amanda or whatever. Stories. This had some people actually sat down and thought about this one, and there's layers to it, and it's good. I love it. But anyway, looking at the whole thing with Eris as well. Okay, if I am like, the more I listen to this story, the more I'm beginning to feel like it's a completely different guy who did it, or a different team who did it, because
Yeah. I think the exact same
this
thing.
is like on a different level. But what they've done with Eris and turning her into like the hive god of vengeance or whatever, like we've had conversations, and I've had conversations with my community, and it's like, oh, we always think of stuff that's really good, and Bungie always never does anything that's like that. Well, this whole idea with Eris, I never could have seen it coming. I never even thought about it, but I think this is the perfect thing to do for her. And I'm not talking about her like being corrupted in the future. I'm saying like this whole like God of Vengeance thing, and like her following the sword logic for her own end. I think it's beautiful. I love it. I will be thine acolyte. I will give you your tithes. Let's do it. Let's go. I will gladly do the altars of summoning. I love it. I think it's beautiful. And you know what? If she dies this season, and I don't want her to, okay?
I bloody hope not.
I don't want her to, but at least she went out with a good bang.
Yeah, and if she
in
does
a
die, at least
non-sexual
we care.
sense. Anyway, yeah. I just realized I could have been taken out of context. But yes, yeah, she went out with a bang.
Yeah, I mean, true. I hope that she doesn't die, but if for whatever reason she does, at least they've got it to the point where we would genuinely care if she does.
Oh yeah, like if she dies, but the reaction between her dying and Amanda, it's night and day.
Oh, mate, you can't compare the two.
100%. But anyway, what I will say, real quick is, you know, Archival mentioned he didn't want her to get corrupted, and he was kind of worried about that. You know, something that we're gonna start doing is we're gonna start looking at Final Shape and see who's there and who isn't, right? And Eris isn't there, but you know who else isn't there? Drifter, and I'm also very worried about that too.
Wait, sorry, what did you say? Drifter isn't what?
He's not in the Final Shape. He's not in the Pale Heart.
Oh yeah, but he's in this season.
No, but I mean like next season or something. Is he gonna be like the focus of next season? Like are we gonna like let me just put it like this, right? If Eris is the focus of this season and she dies, and then Drifter is then the focus of the next season. Like if they do a 9 season and then it's Drifter, I'm gonna be like, no, please, no. But no,
Yeah,
like
true.
anyway, long story short, I'm happy with this season. I'm very happy. I'm excited to see how things go. My
I mean,
one
people are
ask,
definitely gonna die though.
well, Zivu, but my one ask is, I want to see that Eris is becoming more powerful, right? Like I want to see when she transforms that she's like getting bigger, or that she's getting more like I want to actually like, because let's be honest, even though she looks cool, she doesn't look like a hive god, like Oryx or Zivu or Sat. Like make her actually, like I want by the end, like week 10 or whatever it is, I want it to be like a Godzilla versus King Kong fight, and we're just watching, you know.
Some epic cinematic moment.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Anyway,
I wonder how many people die in Final Shape though. You know, like in the final conclusion of most things, a lot of good people die.
Zavala, I'm actually I wouldn't be surprised if they brought in the new voice actor just to kind of wrap up the story for the character.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure some big names are definitely gonna go.
Because I kind of felt it was a little bit insensitive just to replace the voice actor. But if they really needed the character to just kind of finish things off, I think that's fine. But like, if we're 2 years from now and Zavala is still a thing, I'm gonna kind of look back and be like, you know, I kind of wish they just left the character, you know?
I was always of the opinion that if there was a time for Zavala to die story-wise, it would have been the final shape. So when they talked about, having him around for, final shape and beyond, I was kind
Oh,
of
did they
like,
say that?
oh, I think they did.
I don't know, but yeah.
Because I don't know, I've been yearning for like meaningful deaths in Destiny. Because we could be real, we haven't really been getting a lot of that. It's been a lot of, with Lightfall, the whole, all the losses we get in Lightfall are very, like, we either saw it coming from a mile away and the way it was executed just wasn't great, or we just never knew the character that long,
Yep.
Rohan.
Yep. Yep.
And yeah, I don't know. I was kind of expecting Sloane to die in Deep,
Yeah, me too.
but that
It is
did
what
not
it is.
happen. And yeah, I don't like hold any real grievance over the decision to keep her alive. It's just a note. I think that um I forgot what I was going to say.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, I forgot what I was gonna say.
That's okay. Uh, in that case, I'm gonna move on, and I'm gonna actually. I know I've been ignoring it, but I'm actually gonna look at the chat, and if there's any questions, I think now's a good time for all that. Oh man, there's a lot of scrolling to do. Oh dear. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Here we go. So Felix says. Let me just turn this down real quick. Felix says, my first podcast related question. Do you guys think we might get collapse related lore in the Final Shape or its seasons?
God, I fucking hope so.
I hope so, but I'm not expecting it.
Oh,
He says, sorry,
actually,
I strongly hoped for flashbacks and actual cutscenes about the collapse, but after Lightfall and Justin Truman's GDC words, I'm looking at Bungie's hands 24/7. Yeah. So he'd like to see like a flashback.
okay. So, you've all read like the Final Shapes website description, right? Like
Yeah.
new and old memories kind of thing. I think that there is actually a good chance that in this space, this enclosure, if you will, I think that there is a good chance that we might actually see maybe not even just like first collapse shit, but stuff from like the whirlwind or things that I think there's actually a chance that we might see a flashback of the witness's race even, like not
Yeah.
like just in
Yeah, I
like a
think so too.
cutscene form.
I think
But
so too.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's a very good chance that we'll be seeing a lot of material related to all of the things that the Pyramid Fleet has done in the history of Destiny and things that like when I talked about seeing the origin of the Traveler and stuff, like things that we really should get out of the way in the Final Shape. I think that we could be building up to something like that, like in the linear course of the campaign, where we see like our memories and shit. If you notice, the Cosmodrome like spawn area is in the dark area
Yeah.
in the press kit, and I think based on that, um, we might have more. We might be going further and further into the past. Like, yes, the D1 towers are a starting point, but after that, it's a matter of going further and further back until because we've had darkness tied to memory for a while now. So I think having the dark side of this area be more memory focused and have not only everything the darkness has done, but also like the witness and how far history goes with interactions with the traveler and whatnot. I think that only fits. So we might see a lot more history on everything, especially because Bungie said they are trying to tackle big picture stuff, and stuff like the collapse is arguably one of those because it's something that we haven't really gotten a lot of focus on,
Yeah.
and we need to.
Well, they just got to do it right. I mean, One thing that I've noticed with Bungie, and the biggest trend that I think they've got with their expansions, which seems to remain consistent, is whenever they focus one thing, we get quite a lot of that one thing. So like Beyond Light was Stasis, Lightfall was Strand. You've got I mean, Witch Queen was good, to be fair. Witch Queen was good, but that one thing with Witch Queen was the Hive Light Bearers, right? We got quite a bit of that. One thing that I've noticed, which I've personally have seen quite consistent with the marketing of Final Shape, is Cade coming back, and they even gave Cade like his own segment in the Final Shape showcase, whilst also saying in other previous parts of the showcase that Cade is back. So I'm hoping that Cade coming back and the nostalgia of Cade coming back doesn't take away too much from the actual story of the game as well. Because I know how much they like to lean into certain things quite heavily. And it
Yeah.
kind of steers away sometimes.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah.
We'll see.
The second question, I feel like we've kind of like answered it, but it was just basically like, are we happy or sad that we're not getting darker subclasses? Brad, I know you're happy we're not getting a darker subclass. I'm kind of indifferent towards it, to be completely honest with you, but
I mean, there's a
already talked
reason
about
why I'm
whatever.
happy about it. Like, do I want a darkness subclass? Yeah, of course I do.
Yeah, but there's a reason
Why,
that
why
they
would I?
always butcher
Why
it
would I
with the
not
story.
want that? Yeah, it's the fact that Bungie can't do it properly. Like, if I was confident enough in the game devs for them to execute a new subclass whilst also not butchering the story at the exact same time, I would be absolutely ecstatic to get a new subclass. The fact that I only saw a few updates to the light abilities, which isn't going to take as much work as creating an entirely new archetype.
Yep.
Yeah, of course I'm happy about that. It means that their focus is going to be more driven, hopefully, towards the story of the game, and not so much on creating a brand new thing that's probably just going to be
Or
patched in a few
damage type
seasons.
as well, because a new subclass means a new damage type for weapons.
Yeah, like
Yep.
if they're ever gonna bring back a new subclass, which they will, obviously, it's just pretty much guaranteed. Just don't do it in your expansions. Just do it in your seasons because, it doesn't matter that much. I mean, they're never gonna accomplish what they did with Forsaken and how they made the new sort of bits and pieces with that. But
Well,
I
I'm pretty
mean,
sure they also hate Forsaken, so.
I mean, I guess the major difference is we didn't really have a new archetype in Forsaken, so I can't really use that as a comparison. But the only thing you can compare it to is obviously Stasis, and even then they tied pretty much most of the story to Stasis. But even then, I actually think Beyond Light did a better job at it. At least with Beyond Light, I wasn't like drip fed and made it out to feel like I was like unconscious or something. Like, oh, you're not strong enough to wield this power yet, and all this crap with Stranded. To me, it just didn't make sense. But yeah, I'm glad that we're not gonna get a Darkness subclass in the expansion, and I'm fairly sure we'll just get it in one of the what do they call them now, chapters or something.
Episodes.
That's it, episodes. It's guaranteed to happen. I'm just glad it's not in the thing.
Yeah. I think we're kind of all in pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Much. I'm just trying to see. So, are you telling us that they're gonna pull a Lightfall again? No, it's not. So, okay, let me put it like this, right? So, Lightfall was them saying we're going to do this, and then they just do the complete opposite, or not the opposite. Like they don't even. It's just not like it's utter clickbait. It's like, I can't think of an analogy, but you know what I'm trying to say. This is like from a certain, like it was the final shape from a certain point of view. It was the conclusion from a certain point of view. That's kind of like I think the way they're gonna go. Like it's not like there's not like yeah, I mean defeating the witness is kind of a big deal, right? Like it's I'm not gonna pretend that it isn't, or that it won't affect the universe greatly. Of course, right? And if the Black Fleet is actually taken out of the equation as well, right, and there's absolutely nothing going on with them afterwards, then that makes us the most powerful faction in the universe. So like, yeah, it is going to be a very pivotal moment in the story, but it's not I think what people are hoping it's going to be, which is the actual big boy story coming to an end. Yeah. I think
I'm gonna be
yeah.
very disappointed if the pyramid fleet is taken out of the equation
Me
entirely.
too. I don't think they will, but I will be disappointed if they do. Yeah.
Yeah, like even if it is, even if they will never bring back the Witnesses race, even if it will always just be Tormentors and Subjugators and like I don't know, run of the mill Disciple number 55. I
True.
just hope that they still play a role because I've noticed a lot that we've been taking care of new factions very quickly,
Yeah.
like lore wise. Like the Scorn, we fucked them right up, and they never recovered until after Callus decided that giving them to the Witness was a good idea. Which, to be fair, I guess he didn't even really intend. But I I just feel like to have all of these enemies, and for Bungie, who just said, and I think their networking thing, that they want these singular enemies that will shake up the battlefield, to introduce them and then never do anything with them is like a disservice to them. Because if you're not gonna, if you say something like, adding a new like faction wouldn't be that interesting, which I believe is incorrect as hell, but okay. Um, then fucking use the enemies that you're introduced. Don't don't just toss them the wayside like you did House Salvation's Archons,
Yeah.
because they. When's the last time you fought a House Salvation Archon? Seraph, and before then,
I don't know. Dude, they're just
exactly.
they're the irrelevant guys. Like I don't think like it's the same thing with the House of Dusk. Like if we were being realistic, we would have either killed them all or they would have all like deserted, right? Like I don't think they should even be a threat anymore.
I think they deserve to still be around only because I know that there are Fallen that do not like House Light or House Salvation, like at all. But then again, at this rate, House Dusk is pretty much just being used for Wrathborn fodder.
Yep. No, and Salvation.
Well, yeah, but mainly Dusk. Because I don't, um, shit, how was I gonna word this? In the trailer for this season, the final, not the, I don't know about the final boss, but the last boss, remaining in the triumphs for, the Savathun Spire mission is seen in that trailer, and it's accompanied by Wrathborn Fallen, and they're all Dusk. So Dusk is always going to be the main Wrathborn Fallen force.
That makes sense then. Okay. I really I think I know they're never going to do it, but I'd love to see a return to the old houses, some shape or form. But we'll see. I don't know.
Well, House Exile, my beloved.
Yeah. Also, Archive, you're gonna love this. Somebody gave me some really good insight. They said that that the joke's on you because Eris was Savathun all along.
What the fuck?
Have you ever, like... Bailiff, whack his peepee.
By the way, I've just been fishing the entire time, and it's honestly painful.
Yeah, I have to go to the bathroom really badly. I'm dying.
What,
Are
right
you
now?
guys? Yeah. Are you guys gonna play Starfield?
Is that a fucking joke question? What a dumb question.
Okay.
Am I gonna play Starfield?
I'll be right
Nutter.
back. I'll be right back. I'll be right
What an
back.
absolute nutter.
I'll be right
Are
back.
we gonna play Starfield?
I'll be okay.
What an idiot. That's like asking. Are you guys gonna play Starfield? That's like asking if I'm gonna pre-order a fucking Final Shape. It's a guaranteed yes.
I need money, but I
Oh,
think
mate.
once I got
Honestly.
that,
Yeah.
once I got that, I'm probably gonna play. Like I'm not really like a Bethesda like follower. I don't really.
Just
I
Game Pass
haven't
it,
played
mate.
any of the. Oh, wait, is it on like? Is it on
Yeah.
Game Pass?
Yeah,
No.
the official release date is the 6th of September, and it's gonna be Game Pass.
Well,
I'm not
never
buying it
mind.
either. But yes, I'm going to play it. I'm absolutely not paying for it though.
Alright, I guess next time Destiny hits a low point, we're just have to. I still need to fail. There are a lot of games that I want to play or I've set out to play, and I just haven't because Destiny has taken so much of my mental space.
Yeah.
I still need to finish Alien Isolation.
Oh man, I played that years and years ago. Honestly, I really like it.
It's so good. I just, I'm a little bitch and it scares the fuck out of me.
Honest, mate, I had to take interval breaks. I swear to God, because there are some genuine moments where it's terrifying.
The AI for the alien is,
Oh, it's brilliant.
listen, as an Alien fan, it's accurate as fuck to probably how they would actually like. I had to like turn something on and I was in like a cold room. It was a really small area, but I just remember that it took me 30 minutes to pass like 5 minutes of gameplay.
Mate, honestly, I mean, I've definitely had those moments as well. It's such a good game. I can't wait for you to actually like get through it.
Just, I'm playing on the easiest difficulty. Because I'm not, this is a game type that I haven't really played before. So, I'm new to it. And, for the most part, it's fine. It works fine. It's just as soon as the alien gets involved,
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
the AI,
wait, what game is this you're on about?
Alien Isolation.
That's a good game.
Yeah, the damn
You know what else is a good game?
damn thing.
What?
Starfield.
Wait, have you watched
They've got great AI
videos?
too.
Oh, right.
except it's just A, right? Because there's no actual intelligence involved. It's just A. Wait. So I actually did miss some questions. So somebody says if we were to get an animated Destiny anthology show like Tales of the Jedi, what Destiny stories would you guys like to see get adapted for it? I would like to see Kaido's coup against Callus.
The Midnight Coup, yeah.
I want to see. I remember I had this conversation with somebody, and I literally had examples as well, and I can't remember. Okay, so I would like to see Twilight Gap. That'd be cool. They're never gonna do it, but I would love to see the Great Disaster. I'd like to see. I really would love to see the Shin Malphur, Jaren Ward stuff with Dredge and Yor. Anything Iron Lords with the Dark Age. Have a Dark Age thing, with Warlords and Iron Lords and Iron Wolves and Drifter or whatever. That'd be great. I love actually to see it now like a one episode thing of like one or two Guardians like post fall of the city during the Red War trying to survive without their light. That'd be cool. I'd like to see a story about how some fallen they basically basically what happens is Praxis comes back to life, right? So don't explain. I don't have to explain how because I do what I want, and he basically gets Nezaric's toenail and he studies it and he learns how to bring stuff back to life indefinitely. So he brings Tanyx back to life, and he gives Tanyx, and then Tanyx gets stasis, and then Tanyx goes into the Pale Heart and steals the subclass that the sun or that the warlocks were supposed to get, and so becomes like Taniks the final shape, basically.
Wow.
I still yearn for a dungeon in the Deepstone Crypt where
Yeah,
the
that'd be
first
good.
boss is Tanix's upper half and like a fucking dark ass
No,
flickering light chase
I thought you were gonna say. I
sequence.
thought you were gonna say, hey, the boss is his lower half.
No, no, no. I want this fucker to be crawling around on the ceiling, fucking chasing us
Oh
like
yeah,
Trevor did in 2 Hour.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
the
yeah.
final boss is clarity control.
Yeah. That'd be good. That'd be good.
For
Oh, like a. You know what actually would be good is like a Cade a backstory thing of how he became an Exo and like the whole stuff on Europa with Clovis Bray and all that stuff. That would be really interesting. Could it would be like
my
emotional but serious and dark at the same time.
my go-to for a Destiny series or anything, or even just a single episode, is like an old-timey animated style thing about the Fallen leading up to the Whirlwind. Just starting off peaceful, exploring their culture and all of that, and then ramping up to the fall of the entire world at the hands of the Witness and Oryx.
Wait, with the whirlwind basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing. People like act as if it was just the pyramids who did the whirlwind. It was I in my opinion, when I look at because like a lot of things that I talk about, right? Like I base it like this is what the lore says, but another thing, a lot of times what I'll do is I will base things off of my interpretations of the lore. And from what in my opinion, the way I look at it, I think that especially because we've never seen the pyramids like do that much, right? I wouldn't be surprised if the Hive were the ones who mainly wiped out the Fallen's golden age. But yeah, people forget that the Hive were there. Like the Hive were 100% there doing that. But anyway, yeah. I think, but I think most likely Bungie's gonna go for something not as nerdy. I think
Just
that's. They're gonna try and do an arcane.
big collab
It's gonna
thing.
be. They're gonna try and do an arcane, but we'll see how.
Hey,
they can
if
pull
they
it
do
off.
an arcane, then yeah, we'll see.
I hope they don't, because I don't think they have the ability to pull it off. And that's not me trying to be like mean or disrespectful, but I don't think the way they the type of stories that they value, the type of characters that they want to push out there. Because here's the thing, at its core, let me just put it like this: Arcane was not trying to sell a product, right? They were not interested in trying to get people to go from Arcane to League of Legends, right? That wasn't like in a lot of ways you could watch the show and not even know there was a game about it, right? I would not be surprised if the whole time they're working on a show for Destiny, they're thinking, we remember we need this to be able to target as many people as possible because we're trying to get them to go from point A to B. I'm not saying that that's the case, but there's a higher chance of that happening than with Arcane, right? And so I think like really nerdy stuff, things that could alienate people, things that aren't super casual and easily understandable to everybody. That's why I think things like Cade, maybe the Vanguard, really basic things. I don't see it getting really dark. I see it having all happy endings and whatever, and it is what it is. Would I watch it? Sure. Would it be as good as Arcane? I don't really think so. And for the record, I'm not saying Arcane was perfect either. I had my own gripes about the show, but it is still a piece of art in my opinion. But it's like with Elden Ring. I said Elden Ring is 100% not a perfect game, and there's a lot of things wrong with it. Still the best game I've ever played in my life. But anyway, we have what are your guys' thoughts on the possibility of the Witness being separated when we beat it, becoming an endgame enemy race for the expansion? And Mr. Photon Warrior, that is the only way I can see us ever getting the race as a faction, is if for some reason us defeating the Witness triggers it. And literally, Now, it actually didn't do really well at all. But my most recent video, and if you're still here, I recommend you watch it. The title is kind of misleading. I think that's kind of why I think I gimped myself. But basically, I talk about it's just a fun thing where if we were to get a new enemy faction, like what the method would be of Bungie doing that. And all I'm going to say is, because I'm not going to spoil it for you. So first of all, we're not getting an enemy faction in this expansion because Joe, unless he's just kind of being deceptive, Joe Blackburn has made it kind of clear what his opinion is on us getting a new race. I think it's copium. I don't really agree with it at all, but I think in the future years or something or whatever, if we do get a new enemy faction and it is that race, I literally my latest video is about that and how that could happen. But anyway, what do you think is possible that beating the witness could like free the race or something?
Yeah.
You do?
I mean, from a canonical sense, yeah. It's the way I see it, between being in the Pale Heart and also having, or with having all that light there, and also the urns and the technology that they already have on hand, I think having them coming back is completely doable. I just wish it were feasible in Bungie's eyes, because it's
Feasible in what sense? In a like a tech game development sense, or in like a story
in a
sense,
they
or
should do it sense.
yeah.
Because like they're definitely capable of making new units. It just they never, for some reason, they believe that having a new faction wouldn't do anything to like change up the gameplay all that much, and it's like that's a fucking lie, because having new enemy factions in the past significantly changed up the gameplay. Yes, the Taken and the Scorn still shoot at you, but they also have their own faction specific mechanics. The Taken force you to be on the move more often because of things like the captain bubbles. They force you to be more aware because of things like the scion splitting. They force you to, or and the centurion darts. And Scorn with the totems. I mean, no other faction really has that. And you also have the small little shields with the lurks and the not lurks, lurkers. Sorry, old Taken King dead names. Um, they're just, as annoying as those mechanics are, they are still things that change up the gameplay on a faction-wide basis. Whereas recently, the only things that have really gotten close were the moths and the backpacks, and let's be real, the backpacks don't really do much.
No, and they're just annoying. I don't like them at all.
And yeah, and the moths, they do more, I will admit, but it's still not like a that much of a change. It just gives you like one more little thing to shoot at. And honestly, sometimes you can just ignore moths entirely. Like we need a new faction that has beings like the Tormentors and the Subjugators as their Hive Light Bearers and their Hell Salvation Archons. Like, those are the big enemies that drop in to support them. But these enemies themselves have their own mechanics and abilities. Like, if we were to have a faction that utilize darkness abilities as a basis, then that automatically changes the game from every other faction. Because most factions we have either use just outright ballistic weapons or the light elements. Whether they're actually light or not is completely up to the faction. But if we had a faction that used stasis weapons, stasis abilities, strand abilities by default, that's like a whole other beast to tackle. And I think that we should have that. We should be able to have another faction to switch up the game for another couple years at least. But
I think it really is tied to a very age-old desire from the community. And for several years, everybody was asking, we want darkness subclasses, right? Or we want the darkness, right? Even just like one subclass, whatever. And eventually, we got it. And at the same time, everybody's been saying, you know, we would really like a new enemy faction because we're sick of fighting the Hive. Like, I'm gonna be honest, when I saw Hive inside the Pale Heart, a little piece of me died inside. Okay? I'm so sick and tired of fighting them, dude. And it's not only is it boring because you're so used to it, but from a story perspective, it's just like
boring.
it just doesn't fit in. It doesn't. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, Joe Blackburn, with all respect to him, you know, he can say he doesn't want us to be fighting enemies that are drag power levels or whatever, but it's not about trying to make the witness weaker. That's not like it's just about making it feel like a fresh experience. And I think he knows that, and I think Bungie knows that, and that's why I think not having a new race is probably one of the real reasons. Like, I'm just gonna say this.
Here it comes. Hot take.
Not having a darkness subclass has absolutely nothing to do with the story and them, like, whatever reason, like whatever way we're getting this new light stuff, easily they could have just done that for the darkness subclass. That's not the reason. The reason why we're not getting a darkness subclass is because they most likely couldn't finish it in time. That's really what I think. Because I truly believe the leak that we got for the subclass, like the HUD thing with the guy, whatever, was from Bungie. I think they were working on it. Financially, it would have made more sense. It would have made sense to do as darkness subclass. They hinted at working on it back before Lightfall with the next one. And I think it's just, you know, they just didn't have the time to work on it. And I think the same thing goes for a new enemy race. That would require a lot of time, effort, money, whatever. And considering the final shape, I guess, didn't have the development time that we had hoped it had, then I don't think they really had the time or the people to get that done either. I don't know. But I think it's... I'm just frustrated because, you know, I also made videos and I've talked about the statues of, like, the dudes like that we've gotten. And I think that's, like, concept for... You know, them thinking of different enemy designs and stuff like that. And even in those statues, you can kind of see similarities between even the subjugators. And I think they've had so many years to work on a new race that regardless of what the development time is for Final Shape, I think they could have had a new race cooking for several years now. And do I think we will get a new race? Eventually, I think we have to, 100%. But if it isn't the Pyramid Race, I will always say it should have been the Pyramid Race. Because literally in D1, you had the 5 enemy races, and one of them was supposed to be pyramids. So, it is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is.
I think that's fair.
I think that's fair. And the... okay, so... Second last question is, what do you think Savathun's ultimate plan is, and why is her brood against us? Is she serving the Winnower while using the light? Well, they do explain the brood side of it. So they're not happy with us killing her, obviously. But then also we do ask Imaru to call them off, and he's just like, yeah, no, I'm okay, thanks.
Fucking asshole. I actually really like that. It's just... I guess to pick up on the Amaru discussion that we were talking about earlier, I really do actually like him in this season, which is a big difference from how I saw him in Witch Queen. I
agree.
I didn't give a fuck about him in Witch Queen.
Yep.
I found him annoying.
Yep.
But this time, he's just so blunt. He's just so open and honest about how shit works. Like, one of the lines he has in The Altars of Summoning, where he talks about how, yeah, it's not like ghosts can't feel the Traveler, it's just that what we do feel is, like, if your god if you could hear your god, and all it would do is scream for help. Like that shit is like. First off, it's useful information. Second off, Jesus fucking Christ, that's haunting.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they
Yeah.
nailed that character pretty well. That is the like. Yeah, I would like when I listen to this guy talk, how direct he is, how blunt he is, how sarcastic he is, which is literally like my personality traits to a T when it comes to like the type of ghost that I even want for myself. Mate, I'd happily trade my ghost off for that. Like my ghost that I have in game, that we all have in game, what a little bitch. The guy just like I just don't understand. Like, what was I can't remember what expansion it was, but it was when he was just like really cowardly and just
No,
really
Beyond Light.
yeah, that was it. Beyond like just so scared and just I just don't like it. I like Amaru's great voice actor, great ghost, everything.
This is
I
why
want
I
it.
like Witch Queen's depiction of our ghost, because he's just not having any. He's not having any bullshit this time around.
Yep.
It was definitely a refresher.
Yeah, like. I always like when Ghost actually stands the fuck up for himself,
Hmm.
because usually I'm in agreement. For example, when he yelled at Mara in one of the Queen's Court
Oh, I
things
hate.
in
Yeah,
Forsaken,
I know what you're gonna say. Yeah,
I really wish he stood his fucking ground when she started yelling back, because I'm
yeah.
sorry, we can take her.
What was she even
Oh,
doing that
fucking
whole time,
easily.
by the way? Like the whole time when she's like, "Oh, I'm fighting the war in the back." No, you're useless. You were useless then, and
Experiment.
you're useless now.
She
Like
was
honestly.
making a she was making a bunch of deals, and like that's about it. But it wasn't until after she left
With
where
who? The Nine? Yeah, look what the Nine did. They did absolutely nothing.
they had
Fucking
nothing.
spider, mate.
And the thing that really the big thing that happened was going with Eris on a trip to find out about pyramid shit, which kinda worked out and kinda didn't. They isolated a pyramid near the moon, or the planetoid Eris, which Eris made a remark on. But Mara used the power that she managed to get from Oryx's throne world before it disintegrated to absolutely destroy it, but she died in the process. Respawned in Eleusinia, had to get pulled out. They avoided Karu because she is still there, and then somehow after all of that, Eris was somehow injured.
I
And
remember that.
it's still really weird how that managed to happen, because either a piece of pyramid shrapnel got launched at like 30,000 miles an hour, or there was something in the pyramid.
A really, really sharp stair that she slipped on and cut her hand.
Oh my god. A sharp stare. Okay, yeah.
Because that's all we
Uh,
get. We get stairs and ponies, and and
and
pots.
and uh, and pots, yes. Yeah.
me when
Wow.
the me when the Sphinx statue looks at me weirdly and I somehow get inverted and die.
True. Uh,
Nice.
Errol. Imagine that the race was not willingly combined to the witness. I talk about that in my most recent video. So if you haven't seen that, I do talk about that.
Good plug.
Your guys' thoughts on the winnower being in the expansion in some way? I don't think we're gonna see him. I think best case scenario, there's like a bit of a, mention, and I think the least good thing would be in like written lore there being something, but yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah,
What do you guys think?
Sam.
You think so too? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
I'll
do.
I'll bring something up regarding the not every one of the witnesses' race being agreed or agreeing with the merge. I It was a little thing that I thought of a while ago of how funny it would be to have their entire species come back after the witness dies, and then like we get approached by like a pyramid full of them, and then we're like, oh shit, we gotta war. This is war. And then one of them comes out and is like, hey, we're sorry about anything that we kind of did when we were in the witness. We didn't really want to do that. Just this one group of assholes really did this ritual thing, and we just
Mhm.
we don't want any part of that. Wanna help out? Want us to help out, friends?
Mate, I can't wait for the time we get to kill the witness and then he gets revived as a guardian.
Yes,
sick.
yes.
It's gonna be sick.
I don't think that would actually work though, considering it's like multiple people.
I'm sure Bungie will make it work. Don't you worry. Don't you worry
And then
about that, Benjamin.
we have the 50th redemption arc.
Stop.
Yep.
I would have shatter dived Aramis, if they gave me the chance.
Hey man, where the fuck was Varix during Plunder?
Uh, slipped on another stair. Ice. Slipped on ice. I don't know. Would you guys love a full year of Nimbus?
Oh no.
No.
Just wait. Was there more to that question?
Yeah.
The answer is no, though.
No.
Who said that?
I would rather play Starfield on my 2080 Ti and get 26 FPS than have a full year of Nimbus.
Oh mate, you saying that shit makes me shit myself because I'm on a 2070 Ti.
No, you're on a 2080.
No, I'm on a 2070.
No, you're on a 2080.
No, I'm on a 2070.
No, you're.
Ti.
I literally know your. I know your specs. You're on a 2080.
Mate, I'm on a 2070 Ti.
Okay. No, share your screen right now and open up your specs.
I'm in Mayhem. I'll do it immediately after.
I'm gonna cause mayhem in a minute now. You're.
You're both on 2090s. Let's move on.
Oh.
It's fine, mate. It's capped at 30. It's capped at 30. Nah, it's only for console, innit?
I would live a full year of Nimbus if the story was about realizing Neomuna's government was full of shit, and also the Veil is the single most malevolent entity in the entire universe.
Okay,
Because
actually,
then I have to deal with Nimbus having an existential crisis, and then I have to deal with all the other Neomuna characters having an existential crisis. And frankly, if that's the only time I can find them tolerable, then so be it.
It's just so fucking annoying, isn't it? It's just so crap.
I hate
What
you,
were they
Samuel.
thinking?
I hate Samuel so much. I hate him.
hit which?
The fucking what? I forgot his last name, but Sam. You know the partition mission where there's just an orb that keeps bouncing you around because it refuses to move.
Annex, mate.
Because that's him. That's Sam.
I don't know.
And he also comments on every other patrol
I don't care.
because he's just one of the random Neomuna NPCs. I hate him. He's my dedicated,
I hate the people.
hated NPC.
I hate the destination. I hate them all. I do.
Very, brutal words.
No,
But I agree.
Anyway.
Mate, and
Yeah?
also about the whole Neomunian crap, right?
Space Wakanda.
But Bungie made it sound like we're going up against, like, we're not going up against, but like there's this whole new civilization that are choosing to do this because they don't have multiple licenses. Mate, there's fucking two, and one of them end up dead anyway. Where is this civilization?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
are they? Just some fucking spray painting on the wall. I don't get it. Anyway, you can keep going now.
Yeah.
I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay, I'm gonna take this as the last question because I am getting tired. Thoughts? Okay, no,
Is
never
that the
mind.
question?
Okay, second last point. Okay. Burris, you're the last person. Thoughts on the significance of the pyramid concept art with the coffins? You're on about the one that I showed on stream, I think. Well, okay, I'll take this one because that's I think I'm the one that
can't really
kind of
answer
brought
that, mate.
yeah I think I'm the one that kind of brought that whole thing up. Basically, so I kind of touched on this in my last video, right? And this was about the canopic jars, and like what they represent and their significance, right? Um, I don't think it's safe to say that those objects that we see in game are 100% coffins because we don't know what's inside, right? But in the concept art version, they're different because they've got glass sides and you can see inside, and there are bones, you know, inside. It's like a rib cage or whatever. So it's also like the shape of a coffin. Like, who are we kidding? So they're designed to be coffin-esque or inspired. So what's the significance of that, right? So, oh boy, okay. Well, you've got one of two things, right? It's very simple. The first thing is that it's not about what it means for the future of the story or anything like that. It's about the messaging and the symbolism, right? And I even say it in my video, my most recent video. I say that whether or not they're actual canopic jars and they're like filled with organs, or they were filled with organs, whatever, it doesn't actually matter. The reason why they were put there in the ships is to tell you and get the message across to you, if you're somebody who actually like notices them and then looks into it, is that you're walking around and you're like, I'm back, what did I miss? You missed, I don't know how long you were gone, but you missed, I think you missed probably a bit. It's to tell you that you're like walking around this pyramid, right? And you're like, who made this? What is this? Well, it's to tell you that whoever did live there, they're dead. That's what it means, right? And the coffin is the same thing. It's about death, right? Whoever lived there, they died. Now, as for the second option, which is that it means something exactly, you see, what's interesting is it actually contradicts. So you have coffins. If let's just say they're coffins, okay, cool. But then how come you got others, like the bodies that are wrapped up, and then they're just like strewn around the place? It's very odd. It's very disrespectful as well, considering they seem to be a very prideful people. I don't know. I really don't. I don't know if it's like a ranking thing, hierarchy thing. I don't know. The other thing as well is, let's just say having a coffin would make it more difficult for a body to come back to life, if you get what I'm trying to say. Whereas if all you have is a blanket over you, it makes it a little bit easier. But anyway, no, that's my thoughts on the coffin stuff. And if you want my honest opinion, dude, if you haven't already, I would just watch the video. That I know I'm kind of plug and spit much, but like I literally am talking about these points in that video, which is effectively the race and the significance of their bodies still being carried along on these ships, and also what the significance or link is to the canopic jars. And that's, I think, really what this whole coffin thing is really about, right? It's not about why is there a coffin, it's about what the significance is. And if there is a significance, that is what I talk about in that video. Burris says, just stumbled on your channel, and as a fellow lore nerd, well done. Hey, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Any thoughts on the long, slow whisper Kate referred to? It's been bugging me for years now.
But I might have to shoot off.
Go for it. You're good, man. We're pretty much done here anyway.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Archival, it was nice to see you again.
You too.
And I'll see you in the next one.
Take care.
See ya.
Bye, mate.
Bye-bye. Long, slow whisper. It's difficult, right? Because it might, like, I know so archival, like, would you assume that that's based off of clarity control?
I know the sword, not the sword logic. I know the long slow whisper does have like an actual definition somewhere. I just forgot what it was, but I do think it was tied to the darkness influence within Exos.
Okay, that's actually that is plausible. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I could see that because like when people hear whisper, they automatically think like pyramid ship whispers or some whisper, and obviously with clarity control, it's like a pyramid thing, and you had whispers and all that. But if you look at that when that was said, which was Forsaken, he's clearly talking about the crypt. And what he also says in the exact same kind of whatever, he says that the Deepstone Crypt was on Enceladus.
I know why.
Why?
Because Bungie just couldn't decide whether
Okay,
to put it on
yeah,
Enceladus.
yeah. Okay, I thought you were gonna give me like and I was like, wait, really? But I was, yeah, no. So anyway, this is actually why I hate the Deepstone Crypt in its current form. And everyone's like, oh, Deepstone Lullaby. I don't care, because whenever I'm walking
Definition
around
really.
that place, all I can think about is how they ended up either making Cade Six a liar or an idiot who couldn't remember, like, and for the record, he drew pictures of like where the Deepstone Crypt was, and it was on Enceladus, because Saturn was in the sky, not Jupiter. But anyway, the next question is, right, if it's to do with the statue and clarity control being involved with exos and all that, how do we know that in the OG version of the Deepstone Crypt that was there? We don't know for sure, right? But anyway, if you want, like what I'm trying, my point is that we don't really have like a solid 100% answer because it's linked to the retconned nature of the Deepstone Crypt. But if you want my opinion, I think Archival's answer about the innate darkness within exos, like how they were made, I think that's a pretty safe answer. But but in the sense that like that has probably the closest surety of being like right, I would say, because again, my first thought is like, yeah, it's to do with whispers and pyramid stuff or whatever, but I don't know. What I will say though, oh my goodness, Archival, I am a happy man. Do you want to know why?
Why?
I found out what was beneath the ice on Europa.
The many-eyed beast?
Nope, nope. So I have been. Well, I kind of stopped at whatever. I had a whole video planned. I wrote the script. I did the voiceover, everything. I actually recorded the background footage too. I just never made the video. And it was basically about the energy under the ice on Europa. And the title of it was Nezaric's Terrible Power, but really what my main point was that it was linked to the pyramids. That's what, because like, I also believe Nezaric was linked to the pyramids and blah, 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 but whatever. It's whatever. Because before, like, everybody was like, oh, it's salt. It's minerals. And I've always been like, that doesn't make any sense. And on top of that, we have concept art of Enceladus, by the way. And that concept art has the exact same energy under the ice. So, this isn't a Europa thing.
You know, I didn't actually think about that.
Yeah, but anyway, yesterday, completely by accident, I actually found out like the true answer behind what it is. There is an emblem that is just the energy under the ice. Guess what it's called?
What?
Liquid resonance.
Ah, finally, I found my next drink.
True. But like that literally, like I was technically right. It's actually, so the energy that you see on Europa has bled into it from either pyramid architecture, maybe clarity control, I don't know, or the one on Europa, the ship. So that's a fun fact for you. Whenever you see that red or orange energy, that is pyramid ship energy right there. That's not like minerals or anything like that. How long it was there,
It
I
might
don't know.
it might be accentuating those things. It might, because Europa does have the natural,
It does, yeah, but
occurrence of those things.
it doesn't glow like that though.
But yeah, it could just be accentuating the environment on Europa because the pyramids do have the ability to terraform, and honestly, I kind of suspect that that's why the moon is the way it is in Destiny because of the
The
natural
what way?
ambient nature of the lunar pyramid.
You
Because
mean
the
like
traveler
the
never
green
touched the
smoky
moon.
stuff, or the fact that we
No,
can breathe on it?
that's the hive. Not really gravity mainly, because I don't think we can actually breathe on it. Look, I just like to ignore the logistics of
Yeah.
that
Okay.
Ikora and Eris cutscene. I think
Uh,
Eris doesn't need to breathe. I
okay.
just
Okay. That's I don't know. I can't agree with that because there's no like evidence. You know.
That's fair. I
Yeah.
just think that there's a chance she's gotten changed enough, and I know Hive really don't need to breathe. Um,
Yeah. But then again,
was this?
Ikora.
Yeah, was that the last question?
Yeah. Well, it's the last one. I'm.
Okay,
Yeah. That's pretty much it. But anyway, no.
because
Thank you. Thank
I
you for coming, dude. Thank you for talking.
actually have one more question.
Go for it.
Based on the nature of the red suits, like the subjugators and the tormentors,
Sure.
um, and also disciples like Rolk and Nezarek, we know that the veins, the like resonant veins or whatever those are, run through their bodies in their totality. Like, if you look at Nezarek's reconstruction in Root of Nightmares, you see it make the rest of his body as time goes on.
Yeah.
Um, would it be fair to say that the reason or how the witness has so much control over some of these guys, as well as perhaps why entities that have also gone through the microwave, like the Shadow Legion, because you see them in those cubes, those glass cubes.
Yep.
Um, would it be fair to say that those roots are the cause for their subservience, or one of the causes for their subservience?
I think something that has become clear is that um we saw it from Rolk, we saw it with Callus, we've seen it with enemies, Tormentors, Nezarek, um that they don't just get power, they are transformed.
Yeah.
And uh I'm gonna I don't understand the true nature of resonance, okay? Like when I see the energy like in walls and then I see that like root looking stuff, I can only assume that they're linked, but I can't explain the actual like nature behind it. But what I will say is that I believe resonance was made during the Pyramid Race's golden age. Uh and I think that considering the witness can, because another thing I never liked was the idea of the witness just like moving pyramid stuff with his mind, right? I just don't, it's just really, for me, it's just cringe, right? I think a better explanation would be that the witness pretty much has control over anything that has resonance. And so, to a certain extent, yeah, the witness would then have control over anything that serves him. And I think I don't think, you talk about control. I don't think the witness needs to. Because when you look at how the
Well,
witness acts, the witness basically manipulates into them controlling. But I think theoretically, yeah. Yeah, I think
well,
they
yeah,
could be.
because the disciples clearly don't have like the same head empty, uh, total subservience that like the basic troops do, especially the Shadow Legion, as discussed earlier. But I just wanted to know the general opinion on that because then the follow up question, which doesn't really have to be answered right
Sure.
now, but just something to kind of think about.
Yeah.
Hypothetically speaking, if you were to undo or alter whatever pyramid brain surgery happens to these guys, could you say, for example, have a tormentor that decides to say, fuck this shit, I'm out, and then leaves? Because we know they feel emotion.
So I think again it depends on a simple thing, which is uh, looking at, because like we don't understand fully tormentors or subjugators or any guys like that, because well we don't know what
Clench
the
your fist,
language, well
stop
we don't know
walking.
what the language is, we don't know, even like you yourself said, we don't know if they're like actual like a race or clones, or we just don't know, right? But the question then is, and this will determine that what your question, the answer to your question is are they there and do they fight with the witness because they're just programmed to, and like they're just programmed soldiers or whatever, or are they there willingly because they believe in the cause? Because I think it can go either way when it comes to tormentors and subjugators. I think it can go either way. If it is just purely programming, then they're effectively robots and you can change their programming theoretically. um I don't think it's gonna be like, oh, you've woken me up and now I understand. I think it's just like changing of whatever the objective is, whatever. But if they're there because they believe in the cause, I don't think you can. You effectively, you just would lobotomize them and then they would be stupid anyway. Like, so I think if the tormentors or subjugators are just like robots, maybe you could, maybe. Um,
But even then, if they
yeah.
did, if it was just a case of believing in the cause, then that means that you could hypothetically just change their mind.
The thing with the sword logic though is that death is a reward, and not only is it a reward, but it's the goal. And Rourke says that when he says that the final abyss awaits us all. And trying to convince them to be like, hey, you can live, you can have a good life, or this is that's not a that isn't a desirable alternative for them. And I would argue that at this point, any tormentors or subjugators or any dudes like that who ever could have that, would be seen as weakness, and they probably would. It's probably vetted out of them and purged. Again, this is assuming that they're programmed or they're monitored or whatever. I think they're completely brainwashed if they're there for the cause. I think you know they know that they're pawns. This isn't like, oh yeah, we're gonna have it. Like, it's not like, oh yeah, the witness is going in and the great journey. And they know that the end of it is death, or complete whatever. That's what they want because they have been led to believe that that is right. And um, the thing with the sword logic and the thing with the winnower's logic is that inherently it makes sense, and the points against the light and the gardener's logic also makes sense. And so there is no way you can say, well, you're wrong because I'm right, because they can just as easily say you're wrong because I'm right. It's really a choice, and in a lot of ways, it's when it comes to somebody deciding. A lot of times, it comes down to who gets there first to influence their decision, which is what we saw with the pyramid race, because in the end the gardener did nothing and then the veil influenced them, and again with the hive because the traveler was going to give them a golden age most likely, but then the witness and the worms got to them. And like yeah, it's very, you can't really, they're both logics, but you can't use logic to convince one to join the other. It's not kind of how it works. I know that's a really like rambly whatever, but I don't think so. And I think I do think that theoretically, if the witness can control resonance like entirely, and if that includes then their bodies, if that's how resonance works in their bodies, then theoretically the witness has a kill switch whenever it wants. So even if you theoretically could convince like a tormentor or whatever, it could just be like a flick of the wrist and then just explodes into a bunch of tendrils.
I think it'd be really funny if you were able to convince like the armies of darkness to just not do it. I mean, as obviously as unlikely as it would be.
Yeah. I mean, you know what's interesting enough though is that, and this is actually really, I know we're getting really deep into it, but it is kind of interesting. When you look at the enemies who became our friends, they did so out of desperation to survive. So like the Fallen, we pretty much just whooped them until they came crawling, please, can we be your friends? And then the Cabal, you know, they even whooped us. And then the Hive beat them. It's like, oh, please. After like, you know, Zavala just like said no to Keitel with her initial offer. But no, but even still, she was like, let's be allies or whatever. And even with the Hive, you've got Savathun, obviously a bit shady, but it's like, you know, I don't want what the Witness wants, and you know, I'll help you, and I have my conditions, but I'll help you. But when you look at the Disciples, right, and I know I'm moving away from Tormentors because it's a bit up in the, we don't know, right? You look at especially, let's just look at Rolk as a case study here. Rolk is the last member of his race, and so, like, there is no desperation for survival due to how he got to where he is now, or where he was. So there is no case where, because in a way he's already lost everything by his own hand, no less. And that's probably going to be the case with any disciples in the future. Aramis as well. Like, Aramis, I know Aramis isn't even really a disciple, is she? She hasn't been officially named a disciple, right?
No.
No, okay, so she's not a disciple, so I'm not going to consider her. Callus, Callus is a disciple. Callus, actually, I could have seen. I really don't know. I don't know why Callus. I don't think Callus should have met the requirements of being a disciple. I really don't understand it. I think.
Well, I think he only got in because he just because of the
I think he was always just like a burner, like just to chuck,
Yeah.
just to buffer, not like whatever. But no, I think when you look at the reasons why former enemies have joined us in the past, when you look at disciples, especially like Rolk, you'll notice that those reasons are not really applicable there. So, but yeah, I don't know. I Yeah, no, yep. A lot of that stuff is still up in the air, but that's kind of like my rambly kind of thoughts on that. I originally did want to have Resonance as a subclass, and then once I saw that the Traveler had Resonance too, and it was not actually like whatever, then I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess it technically can't, but I don't know. I also think that that foggy stuff in the pyramid ships, I actually think that was light. I do think that was light because we've never seen that related to darkness stuff before, but we have seen it regarding the light. I don't know how exactly it works, because I don't know exactly how they had the light. But we do know they kind of did because they have tech with the light in it, and it's, I don't know, but I don't know. Anyway, I'm like, do you ever get like really tired and then you just start to just like lose coherent track of what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're getting
And
there.
My bad, because I it was just like a couple thoughts that popped in my head
No, you're fine.
as we were talking.
No, I have no issues at all, dude. But yeah, to anybody who's here, thank you for watching, and yeah, I'm gonna end it there. I had a great time, And yeah, I'll talk to you guys.